Kevin.
Yeah,
she's just the sweetest.
Yeah, she's
very
sweet. She's the girl next door.
I'm gonna keep hash marks. That's got to be number 2 right now for Jeff wanting to just.
You know what though? I saw that she was on stage. Was it like Luke Bryan or something like that? She was on stage with some Western singer. I forgot where it was. She can't sing for shit. Like all the comments was, "Oh man, she can't sing for shit," but she got the Haktue down.
Yeah.
You don't need to, you don't need to sing when you describe. That's what.
Yeah,
when you become famous for making
that's the
sounds.
hidden secret.
Yeah. When making sounds, you don't need to sing.
Yeah.
So I see Ryan smoking his cigar. So let's all get right into it. Care?
Yes, sir. So we're gonna jump right into the Cigar Medics humidimeter cut and light. And remember, with the Cigar Medics humidimeter, you will always know when to smoke them. You always know when to hold them. I'm gonna start off because I'm gonna take a little bit more control over this one here since we got a lot of folks. So tonight, out of my Need One humidimeter or my Need One refrigerator humidor, tonight I am going to be smoking Sanj Patel Industry Killer.
Oh, right on.
Don't be smoking that.
Maduro, good cigar.
Yeah. So let's start off. Ryan, what are you drinking? What are you drinking tonight? He's holding it up. What are you smoking tonight, my friend?
Well, I am not a rum guy, like at all, right? My vision of rum was like Bacardi or Captain Morgan or whatever the Sailor Jerry's. And it's not, typically my jam, but I tell you, La Aurora figured out how to get me there 110 anniversario. And
we tried it and it was really good.
I never in my life thought rum was like this. Like this is absolutely incredible. So 125 a bottle. You guys can find it online. If you've never had rum before, let this be your start, but you might screw yourself in the long run.
Ryan, what are you smoking?
I am smoking the Chancellor from ADV.
Nice.
I just want to say something about that rum though. They only made a limited amount.
It's 3,000 a run, but they sometimes make 2 runs a year.
Yeah, because we went to a La Aurora event where they introduced the rum, and it was so freaking good. So good.
Nice.
What are you smoking?
So I am smoking my number 1 cigar from last year, the West Tampa Tobacco Company Red. Look at that crisp, clear photo.
It is, and we'll be getting more into that later on, talking because we are halfway through the year. I do have a West Tampa on my list so far this year.
Kevin, I'm going to go to Jessica, ladies first.
Okay. You confused me.
Oh,
I love how you put him in his place.
I'm smoking the Sindicato Corojo. I'm sure mine's not going to be crisp.
Yeah. So where is that cigar from, Jessica?
Oh, it's from the Corona Cigar of the Month Club.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So.
Kev, what are you smoking tonight? Jessica?
I am smoking the Drew Estate M81 Blackened. This is actually from the May 2024 Corona Premium Cigar of the Month Club shipment.
That's a great cigar.
On my Cigar Medics humidimeter, I am at 66%.
I was at 60. I was at 63. That's perfect.
And I did use mine also. I was sitting at 64.
Oh,
my humidor says 68, so we'll say it's at 68.
Yeah, because we all know that exactly what your humidor is set out. That's what all your cigars are at.
I hope so. It's a $2,000 humidor. It better have everything equal.
Yeah.
I did want to say that I am drinking some Dovetail rum by Drew.
Ooh.
By
Nice.
Jonathan Drew brands, I should say.
I got a $10,000 humidor, Ryan, and my cigars are not sitting at the so yeah. That's why you have the Cigar Medics humidimeter, so you know when to hold them and know when to smoke them. So, is that everybody? Care? Yeah, you got yours. Yeah. And what are you drinking? LaCroix.
sparkling water. It's actually outside of drinking.
Water.
Outside of it's just this bougie water.
It is.
outside of drinking coffee and as a pairing it with a cigar, I love pairing it with a good sparkling water.
Right on. Well, before we get any further in the show, let's take a moment to thank all of our show partners for making this happen each and every week. Thank you to Cigar Medics. Crap, I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Where am I? Oh, no, we had some housekeeping. We'll do the housekeeping afterwards. That's why I was on the wrong page. Thank you to JC Newman Cigars, Cigar Medics, Amendola Cigars, We Are the Muscle, Illusione Cigars, Deep in Flavor, Deep in Your Mind, Corona Cigar, and of course, Drew Estate and Experience Acid. All right, so a little housekeeping. We're going to be back here this Friday night with the crew of Zeal Cigars. I believe Papa Reef is going to be on, Carrie, JB. I don't know who's all coming on. I'm sending out the link, and we'll figure out who is coming on. Yeah. They're going to be giving away the humidor plus all the other little prizes. I think they have like 25 prizes in total.
She had said that she was able to really.
Yeah, so make sure you head over to zealcigars.com and get in on the giveaway before I think Thursday night at midnight is the final. So we'll be back with them Friday night. So I don't know if you guys saw the show we did with Carrie or no JB like a month or so ago. It was JB said something at the end that helped me because I'm having a hard time talking about Brad now, but we're all friends with Brad. We all love Brad. At the end, I asked him if he was mad. So I said he's the guy. I mean, why? As a non-Christian, you always ask, why does this happen? Why did your God let this happen? And he said, like paraphrasing, if God, like things were so bad, they felt they needed the power of someone like Bradley. It's so be it. We will give him to help fight all that. And I'm like, I don't believe, but I'm like, that was powerful to me. That actually helped me out a little bit. It's like, that's awesome. What, if it helps you and it helps the family, so yeah.
Christians ask why.
Absolutely, we do.
Don't be fooled to say that Christians don't ask why. We're human. We're gonna ask why.
So one of the phrases or the sayings that I've had for a number of years is God does what he needs to, when he needs to, with whom he needs to. And that can involve someone tragically passing away. That can involve a new job. That can involve somebody new in your life. That can involve a number of different things. But I'm convinced that God did what he needed to with Brad when he needed to for his purpose.
Yep. The tough part is accepting that, right? Because that's the hardest part. Understanding is one thing, accepting it's another.
Doesn't mean we have to like it.
Right.
I played video games with Brad 3-4 nights a week for a couple hours each night. I miss the guy. I find myself actually texting him and erasing it therapeutically. And Brad's one that's sticking hard with me. I've had Carrie on my show the last 4 Thursdays to talk about the raffle. I partook in it as well. And I don't know that Brad's going to be one that I get over anytime soon. He was we'll leave it at that. There's a big crooked hole, I think, in a lot of our hearts. A crooked bearded hole in a lot of our hearts that will never be filled.
But I
And
don't think you
and I'm so
should
glad.
get over it, though. I
You
think
don't.
you should take his message that he always was, is he was larger than life. He loved his God and he wanted to make people happy. And I think
Yep.
he would want people to continue that legacy on. So I think it's kind of important to constantly, keep putting that positive energy that he always did out there. I think that's
guess-
part of healing as
And
well.
I can tell
I
you,
guess when I meant
from-
get over it, what I was referring to was it'll always choke me up. It'll,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
never.
it'll always be
I
a
understand.
knot in my throat.
Nothing
I can
wrong with
tell
that
you
at all.
this. I lost my brother 4 years ago, my older brother, and even before that, lost a very important person. And it's tough. You learn to live with it. You don't get over it. You learn to live with it. Like you said, there's a crooked hole in your heart. It'll be a crooked scar, when it heals. But the best thing the most important thing I've learned is the person never dies as long as you keep talking about them and you keep telling their story. That's how people live forever.
Yep.
That's eternity.
There you go.
I agree. Let's we're
I
gonna
don't want people to talk about me in a bad way when I'm gone. Like, even if there are bad stories about me, that'd be.
Yeah.
I
And
care
the
was
bad
a
stories-
big jackass. I'll be like, I'm still living. I'm still going on.
At least the bad stories about me will be true. So I guess it's for the most part. So whatever. So but we're gonna move along here before we all start crying or something.
Oh
We're
God!
gonna since we've had either one of you on the show, I know we're broadcasting on YouTube tonight because you guys are broadcasting on your YouTube channels, but we have gained a whole huge following on Rumble, on Twitter. It's actually surpassed everything that we've ever done on YouTube. So we got a lot of viewers that may not know you guys. So give us a little Cliff Notes version. Who you are and what you do in the cigar community. Cigar Show Tim, you go first.
I'm Cigar Show Tim, and I create content, review cigars, accessories, different things like that. Been doing it for about 6 years now, and Tobacco Talk Media is the umbrella that it's all done under, whether it's going to TPE and PCA or reviewing cigars, networking within the industry, and then I put out reviews usually a couple times a week based on whatever is coming across my desk for my cigar journey.
Right on, Ryan.
My name is Ryan Miller. I'm the host of Rocky Mountain Cigar Show, but doing it almost 3 years, little over 3 years now. And I started out in the review world, kind of lost track of that because of all the whatever was going on with YouTube. Switched over to live form interviews every single Thursday. I do a 2-hour live show. It was never meant to last this long, never meant to have an audience that it actually does. It kind of took a mind of its own and grew into what it is through the help of Kevin and Brad and Tim and several others giving me encouragement. And so, yeah, I do a 2-hour industry talk show that's a little something than what everybody else does because I don't really care about the product as much as I care about the person and knowing who they are and digging into their life.
Yes. Tim, you ever miss doing your show with Brandon?
I do and I don't. I do
Yeah.
because I enjoyed the interaction, the constant community side of things. I don't miss the hours of prep before and everything that goes into it. I don't have time for that in my schedule now, and I don't miss that part of it. It was perfect for COVID. It worked great for both of our schedules, but he and I both are just so much busier than we were.
Yeah, I hear you. I used to do all my prep on Friday night. Then it moved to Saturday night. Now it's Sunday night, and it's and if it ever gets to where Monday, I'm trying to do show prep for that show. That'll be when I call it. That'll be when I call it quits.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, both of you, because I don't hide this from anybody. I do no show prep, none. I go into everything completely.
We
cold.
can tell.
Oh, shut up.
No.
I prepped for one show, and that's when I had Dennis Berger on. And it's because I didn't want to get nervous and tongue-tied because I looked up to the guy. I don't know. I prefer not to do it. Maybe 20 years of sales and whatever and just talking to people works for me. But to me, like when I was in Kevin's studio, I was so concerned over the question on the page and making sure that was asked. And I guess for me, if I have that in front of me, my ADD is going to go ask the question, ask the question, ask the question. You missed the question. You missed the opportunity.
Yeah. Yep. I feel you 100%.
But Ryan, you're the same as Carrie. You guys can wing it, and you guys do great at it. I mean, you guys are just naturals. I'm not. I'm a prepared guy. You know, I don't know how I would just start a show and then just throw it all up. That's not. That's not me.
But I learned a lot.
And we didn't do a whole lot of prep with Down to the Nub with Brandon and I. Once we hit go, like it just flowed. Like we tried to have a couple questions and send them, early the first couple times or send them to each other. And we realized that for us, the prep time was hey, is there something specific you want to talk about? Was the emailing back and forth. And for us, it became much more, I guess, relaxed and comfortable to just roll with it and see how it went and treat it much more like talking in a cigar lounge than having questions. But that's just our personalities. I mean, I was a communications major and I would much rather talk for 10 minutes than write a 10-page paper. And so to, be in front of a camera and talk for an hour and a half, trust me, ask my close friends and family, I'm not going to have a problem with it.
Yeah, I can tell you this, Ryan, because your question is, but many years ago when I did my show, I would do a little bit of research on the person I was interviewing, and then it would be a couple of highlights, like a couple of things I wanted to hit, but mostly it was more conversational. And Kevin knows, we talk about this in private. I learned a lot from Kevin because one of the things that's amazing is with his questions, how he flows through those questions, where you never know that he's got questions, there he's going through until he pulls out his papers and gets lost. But the one thing that I did learn from Kevin is doing a little bit deeper dive into research than I used to do before. Before it was more surface based, and then I'd want to dig a little bit deeper. But looking at the way Kevin does his research, and you can still wing it the way you do it, but if you just do a little bit like of a deeper dive in your research with other, Kevin is how many interviews did they do? What didn't they talk about? Those are definitely the prompts that I've learned by working with Kevin on me being more of a natural, let's wing it, I'm going to ask some questions versus having everything scripted.
Well, I'm much more apt to like looking into somebody's world the second time they're coming on the show. Because I feel like I've kind of wung through a lot of questions that I'm going to that first time. So the second time I have watched some shows and stuff like that, but usually I just try to go. Plus I'm lazy. I don't have time. I get like Kevin and him where it's like 5:30 and my show starts in 30 minutes, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking for script notes on something Kevin did. So or script notes on something.
So we got a question here, and I would say stay tuned. We're going to start talking a little bit into the show. Maybe in about 40 minutes or so, you're going to get a lot of cigar info here, so just stay tuned on that. Tim, I want to know how how's your back doing, and for people that may not know, you had to have back surgery. Can you go in a little bit about what happened?
Sure. So I had spinal fusion surgery. Long story short, I had my lowest lumbar, so L5, and my top of the tailbone section of bones, the sacrum, L5, S1. I had spinal fusion take place because they were misaligned. I had a fracture on the backside of it, pinched nerves, all sorts of fun things, neuropathy, different things like that. So I had spinal fusion December 19th and was on the early end of being fully fused. I had one of the top surgeons who's one of the leading researchers and pioneers for synthetic implants. They didn't put anything synthetic in me, but he's been doing it for multiple decades. He was my surgeon, did a phenomenal job. And within 14 weeks, I was fully fused. And I am doing much, much better than I did pre-surgery. That is 100% for sure. I still have my limits because I have some other issues with my pelvis and lower back and things like that. But overall, healed quite quickly, overhauled my diet, changed a number of different things. I drink almost exclusively water now just to keep my body hydrated and lubricated and all those kinds of things so that my joints and everything work the way that they're supposed to. But yeah, I've actually had quite a few people reach out, other, fellow, content creators and whatnot, and been on a couple different shows where it's been asked. And it was humbling. I didn't realize how many people paid attention to me having back surgery. And, you know, I had a couple people comment and say, you know, how in the world or what possessed you to put out content, you know, 2 weeks after having surgery? And, you know, it wasn't a matter of, oh, stay relevant, stay in front of people. It was, I'm on this journey. And even though I've got, you know, a predominantly cigar content themed channel, I've had quite a people that have left comments and watched some of my videos. And actually one person just recently asked me to do a 6-month follow-up video. So I'm going to be putting that out pretty soon. But overall, I'm doing really, really well.
It's all about them views.
No, it's also
It's all
because
about the
people
views.
Some people can.
No, I'm talking
relate, or
about. I'm talking about
somebody's-
me. Oh, but
Oh,
me,
for
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin's talking about
Yeah.
hair. You know, Tim didn't try and capitalize and smoke infused cigar since his
Yeah.
he had the fused spine.
Oh,
Nope.
I'd have had some kind of spot. Do you believe it? Yeah.
Yeah, this entire series is sponsored by the Acid 20.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They infused my spine. I'm smoking infused cigars. So yeah, that's
This
But,
is the new Tibet spinal tip coming in.
yeah, that's it. So speaking of views and everything else, how's everybody's channels doing? You know, I know now, Ryan, we talked about this via text the other day about Facebook. Tim, are you seeing a drop off in Facebook at all? Because a few of us are talking in Facebook. I mean, they're not pushing us there. I think they're actively, because right now we have zero people on Facebook watching across the board.
Yeah.
And
you named it.
There's always some.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing much traction on Facebook. I'll post it. I mean, you see when I post a new review, I'll share it into the I tap that page and, you know, into that group and whatnot. And I don't pick up a whole lot of traction like I used to. I post it just so, you know, if people wonder when something new comes out, it's there. But when you go into the analytics, and I know Kevin, you and I have talked ad nauseum about analytics and where's the traffic coming from and all those different things. When you look and you see where, when I look back at where my traffic's coming from, it's not coming from Facebook. It's you know, search engines, it's Google, it's straight on YouTube, it's all those kinds of things. So no, I don't focus much of anything on Facebook anymore. Yeah, I'm streaming this to, you know, my Cigar Show Tim Facebook page, just because that tends to get the most traffic, more than Tobacco Talk Media and some other things. But no, Facebook isn't doing much of anything.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
I tell you, my Facebook, you go back a couple weeks, you go back like 3 months, I was doing like 300-400 views. Now I'm 700,000-900,000 views in them. So like my Facebook has gone up, but maybe it's because I do nothing on social media other than this show. So like my page is never scraped. I'm never putting stuff out there. Like I just don't have time to sit and take pictures of cigars anymore and post it. Maybe that's helping me because it's kind of keeping them off my back. And when I only post my events, maybe they're not tracking events like they are like YouTube. Kevin, you and I, YouTube doesn't crawl live events the way they crawl uploaded stuff. So like I don't get dinged for live events the way I did dinged for cigar reviews. You know, Rumble's taking off for me too. I mean, I'm loving it over there in Rumble. I didn't stream to Rumble. I didn't realize I usually put up 3, but it only allows me to do 2 when I stream yours. So I just chose the first 2.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that Rumble is hard to create the live on. I wish StreamYard and Rumble were much more integrated, and it was.
It's working, isn't it? Coming.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I would
have
think
to go
so
to
with everybody that's
Rumble
going over there.
You have to
It's
go to
gotta be.
Rumble.
Yeah,
to build it.
it 15 seconds after you've done it a few times. Rumble's super easy, but there is an integration in the pipeline, a direct integration.
There you go.
So that will be something coming forward. Is you're going to see just be able to click on the Rumble, and then that's it. So that'll be
plan
good.
24 hours in advance. You have to do it within 24 hours. I don't like
No, Rumble.
Yeah.
No, it's set 7 days now.
Then it did let me do that last for my show on Thursday. I had to do it Thursday morning.
Really? Because in the past for me it's
Maybe
always been
your premium.
I do pay. I do pay the
Maybe
$9
that's
a
what's
month.
included with yours. Yeah.
Okay, so and I also have the green check mark, so I'm good with that. So
He's real. He's really Kevin.
I am.
It's really
He does
Kevin,
exist.
everyone.
I am proud to be the only person, the only cigar content creator on Rumble with a check mark. So
There you go.
I love it. But yeah,
Certified.
and then Twitter. Twitter's been like I said, we went back to it was funny, guys. We had on the guys from Single Barrel Cigar Company on. And we were chatting about like, why don't they have a Twitter? Like, I'm like, it's driving me nuts. People don't have Twitter. And then Karen and I are watching, and it went from like 10 to 100, 200, 300 people. And I'm like, there you go, guys. I go, we got 300 people on Twitter watching right now that cannot find you guys because they can't click. That next morning, he sent me a text. Like, we have a Twitter now. So
I got banned. And I haven't asked Elon to open it.
yeah, so you just got to create a new one.
Yeah.
And then Tim, I see your tweet. You don't do a lot on Twitter either.
I don't do a whole lot, no. Yeah, just never really have. I'll do like picture posts and things like that when I remember to. But I've just never been largely focused on Twitter at all. It's always for me
the
been
key
Instagram
is
and
to
Facebook.
do 10 to 20 posts a day and repost to stay relevant on Twitter.
It's
Not gonna happen.
It's
No
not.
way.
It's just it's you hear, we've all seen the videos with Gary V. You got to post. You got to put on all these 30, 40 times a day. You got to be on there. Shut up, Gary. We have jobs.
Yeah,
but what
I'm
it is just even if you're just reposting, that helps on your page because it keeps refreshing your page to your followers or to whatever hashtags. There is a science to it. I'm not saying that it's for everyone, but Twitter.
That's Jessica's job, and she can't post that many times a day. Literally, what she gets paid to do. And
Yeah.
So
Good job,
yeah,
Kevin.
but yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But I don't know. We just keep on keeping on, I guess.
Yep.
It's we always say, like I said, YouTube's going to drop that hammer someday, but I don't know. It's they're just keeping on. I think they want our view. They want us to keep creating free content for them. Just that so.
And Zuckerberg's too concerned. It's an election year this year, so Facebook they got their focus more on political ads and all that other
They got some cheating to do.
Yeah, and they were just told that the government can control it, so they're going to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Supreme Court struck all that down. It is, and that could have gone both ways. I mean, these are, if it's not a publicly traded company and they're a private entity, yeah, they can do whatever they want. They can say what they want. They can ban what they want. It's not until it becomes a publicly held. So I understand it is what it is. So but whatever. Tim, we were talking a little bit before the show. I almost forgot. Your scouting. How'd you get into the scouts? I know your sons, your boys are in the scouts. Were you a scout or
no? So my dad's an Eagle Scout, and when I was old enough, and it wasn't for Cub Scouts, but when I was old enough to be in Boy Scouts, he gave me the option of sports or scouts, and all I knew about scouts at the time was you go hiking and camping and outdoor stuff. And knowing that my dad's an Eagle Scout, grew up knowing that it's obviously a great program before I ever worked for it or had, my sons in it. And I chose sports like my oldest brother because, it's my older brother. So why wouldn't I want to do what he did? Because why not? And so I didn't go through the scouting organization. But during COVID and all of that, when I got let go from the university I was working at, because I was the director of event services, and when there's COVID and a pandemic and you can't have events, you can't really justify a salary for the director of the department that puts on events. And so spent a season unemployed, and my wife actually saw the post, and she was like, well, you've gotten to know some of the people at council, which is sort of like a regional office area headquarters. And so I reached out to, the person that's now my boss and said, I'm not going to waste your time if it's not for me, but my wife said I need to reach out to you, so I'm fulfilling that obligation now. Kevin, I know you know what that's like when Jess says, Kevin, just shut up and do it. One thing led to another. Interviewed, went through the full process, and I've worked for the scouting organization now for 2.5 years. My fancy title is district executive, which basically just means I get to support a district, an area, and the units that are in it to make sure that the program is operating how it should, fundraising, membership development, and program integrity.
Right on. How's, a number of years ago, they started letting girls into the Boy Scouts, or the Scouts now is what the name is.
Yeah, Scouting America.
Scouting. Is that Scouting America? Is that what it is?
America?
Yeah, Scouting America is the new name. It's in effect by usage now, but it will be officially our DBA in February of next year.
All right. How's the girl thing going?
It's going well. It really is. Girls actually have been allowed in the organization or in the program since the 70s in what they then called the what's now known as the Venturing Program or the Explorers Program. Girls have been allowed in since the 70s. And so in 2019, when the decision was made to allow girls, the main reason, and a lot of people go, oh, they're going, for political power, for this or that, or, woke, or all these different things. And at the end of the day, what it came down to is so many of the younger sisters of the Scouts were going to the meetings, were basically through proxy doing all the activities and not getting any credit for it. And so the organization said, well, if the girls want to do this, nothing against Girl Scouts of America, but if they don't want to do that program or they want to do them both, why not give them the opportunity to? And so that's what the organization voted on and did in 2019. And it's done really well for us.
Like everything, boys just do things better. So I'm assuming that's why, the girls just they know that.
It's a different program, and you get, my wife was a Girl Scout, and she loved it, and her mom was her den mom, all that kind of stuff. But depending on where you're at, the program is different now for Girl Scouts. It is much more in certain areas, and I'm going to caveat that a couple times. In certain areas, it is much more be the future business leaders of the world and less about the adventures. And then there are other parts where it is still very much about the adventures and the camping and the outdoors. But a lot of the girls were finding that the scouting units in their area were much more about selling cookies and being the next, woman CEO in America. And they just, for whatever reason, personal preference, didn't want to join that program and that organization. So they joined us.
They just want to start a fire. They just want to start a fire.
Yeah.
I was
gonna ask you, if you're in the Bronx and you have a scout, what do you do? So like you said, they're more on the business side of it than really going out there.
And the fresh air kid, they just send you out to the you literally got to drive 50 miles outside of New York City, and boom, you're in woods.
Yeah, but I think you're missing something though. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts isn't all about just being outdoors. There's certain
it's life skills, it's personal development,
life skills,
it's maturing, it's all sorts of stuff.
There's a lot that they have to learn and earn. There's goals that they set for themselves too. For some of them, as they get older, have for that year, they have these goals that they want to reach for, if it's a badge or if it's an award or whatever, and they have to work hard for it.
I'm just talking about the selling point, Jessica. We all know that. I'm talking about the selling point.
Yeah, I will say this. Eagle Scout is a tiebreaker on a job application.
100%.
Yeah, oh yeah,
100%. And I get to sit on what they call Eagle boards of review, and it is impressive to see how some of these, I'll call them young adults, but some of these teenagers and young adults, how they go through a rough patch in their scouting journey. And obviously with COVID is where a lot of that, those Eagles are coming, now when they started during COVID or just before, and seeing how they persevered through that, it is very clear to see that there's a level of determination and grit that is in an Eagle Scout, and for Girl Scouts, a Gold Scout, which is their level of Eagle Scout. But there is a global brand recognition. They call them different things. King or Queen Scouts is what's in Europe and all that kind of stuff. But there's a different connotation with an Eagle Scout than really any other organization. I mean, you go to the military. My oldest son is toying with going to the Air Force, and part of what he wants to do while in earning his Eagle rank is because he will get 2 to 3 pay level increases above everybody else starting out because he's an Eagle Scout, or when he earns Eagle Scout.
Wow, I did not know that.
You get a rank or 2 bump, and you get a couple levels up in pay rate because they recognize you already know how to discipline yourself. You already know how to have structure and boundaries and to get through things and to not give up easy. And so they recognize that.
That's almost more than some of the guys that go in with like even 2 or 4 year degrees.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
So what most people is, I never did Boy Scouts. I never did 4-H. I think 4-H would have been a little bit more my thing. Farmer John would have been a little bit more of my role. But
they have preppy farmers.
However, yeah, right. I would have been a preppy farmer.
Yeah, the Abercrombie farm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, I had their vintage '97 farmer line. Let me tell you, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, Eagle Scout for most people, because it's usually about 18 when you hit 16 to 18, somewhere in there for Eagle Scout.
Yeah, you have to earn it before you turn 18.
Yeah, and for most, that is literally their first lifetime accomplishment, which is why I think it is taken to such high degree of accomplishment in the business world, because it's literally taking a 10-year-old and going, focus for the next 8 years.
Yeah, it's true. It's 100% true. And you look at some of the people that are well known, you know, around the world, whether they're astronauts or, you know, politicians, presidents, whatever it is. You look at, you know, a couple of the executive family members from the founding family of Walmart, and you find Eagle Scouts all over the place. Firefighters, law enforcement, first responders, military. They are everywhere, and they are the embodiment of someone who knows how to take care of themselves and has a good head on their shoulders.
And has some mega discipline.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, same. You know, even coming in our shop, you know, I've been doing this 25 years, and you know, if we get applications in, if they don't know anything about, even if they've never worked on a car, and we've seen this, like they're an Eagle Scout, I always said, just hire them.
They're teachable.
They'll figure it out. They won't give up until they figured out how to do the job. And the few that I think 2 I've only worked with over the years, and they ended up not liking the gig, but they tried. It was kids I never had to yell at kids, anybody younger than a kid, but like Ryan said, it's definitely a tiebreaker when it comes to on an application for sure.
So I got a question. Tim, who's the only U.S. president to make it to Eagle Scout?
Only U.S. president? Yeah, see, I should know this, and I don't.
That's all we're all going to guess.
I
know it was Woodrow Wilson that through Congress that actually did the first charter. The only one I can think of is Truman, but I know I'm probably wrong with that.
I surprised everybody. The one that's made fun of most, Gerald Ford.
There you go.
Really?
I was going to say Carter.
Yeah, Gerald Ford, and then Carter was a scoutmaster and explorer advisor during the times when his sons were in the Scouts.
There you go.
But Gerald Ford was the only U.S. Eagle Master president or Eagle Scout president.
Oh, right on. So. And now we know. And this has been
the more you know.
This has been scouting talk here on the I Tap That Cigar Show. We'll see everybody next week, and
next week we can talk about the Weeblos.
Yeah,
there we go.
The Weeblos.
Next week is brownies. Next week's brownies.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. The actual brownie. Oh God, I love brownies. And now
I'm in Colorado. That takes a whole different meaning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm in California.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't eat the brownies where you guys are from.
Most of the places there tell you like it's on the package and you know what you're buying.
Yeah,
that's it.
Organic brownie.
That's it. Well, you guys Colorado, California. If I know you guys have families there, you know, like Tim, your whole extended family lives near you. If it wasn't for family keeping you, would you guys move? Would you guys choose a different state other than what you're in?
I'll let you go first, Tim.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem moving. When I was unemployed, I looked at Texas, Arizona, Oregon, and Idaho.
That is a mix right there. You know, I'd have figured the same, you know, Texas, Arizona,
and Texas. That's pretty common with Californians.
Very, very common. In fact, there's a bumper sticker that's out, which makes me laugh. And Brandon, cigar mechanic, lives in Arizona, and there's a bumper sticker that's out everywhere, and it usually comes out a whole lot more on an election year, and it says, "Don't California my Arizona."
Yeah. 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 It's brutal. What about you? What about you, Ryan?
I moved here to get away from my family. No, I'm totally kidding. I love my family. My wife and I moved. We came to Breckenridge on our honeymoon, and we absolutely fell in love with this place. And at the time, my wife didn't understand what my ambition and drive was. And I was really tired of working at the radio station doing advertising. So I came home and I said, I'm just going to do what I do and see if I can get a job in Colorado. She goes, oh, great. In the back of her mind, she's like 6-7 months. We'll figure it out. 3 weeks later, I got a job offer, and they told me I had to be out there in a month and a half. And so we went for it. We were out here. My cat had more furniture than my wife and I did. We moved here in October of 16 with an air mattress, a 42-inch TV, and clothes. That's it.
I love a 42-inch TV.
You know what? Because it fit in the trunk. It fit in the trunk of my car, and my 55-inch wouldn't fit in the trunk. Yeah. So the 42-inch TV drove out here. My wife, my wife and I were here from October to the end of February with no furniture other than a TV and an air mattress. And I think I repaired my air mattress close to 24 times because my kitten popped it.
You should have sold some of your Abercrombie stuff.
Yeah, it was already gone. It was already gone. I already went to Plato's Closet and got rid of it all. I got $5 for everything. $40,000 worth of clothes. Got $5.
Yeah.
On consignment.
That's it. And then the rest is history. So Ryan, so there's no other state that would intrigue you about moving out to?
Well, I tell you what, if Tim stops sending residents from California that think a $500,000 house is a price break, keeping our homes out here so expensive. Seriously, our house is at $500,000. I know somebody that came here from California, sold their house for like 1.1, and came out here, paid cash for like twice the size of the house for half the cost, and they were like, "I can't believe the price break out here." I'm like, "Price break? I've been here since 16. It's tripled since 2000. What do you mean price break? We're like coming from California. It's a price break.
It's a huge price break. My wife and I bought our first house as a townhouse for $200,000 in 2013, and 7 years later sold it for almost $400,000.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
It's absolutely crazy. I bought the house that I'm in now for $56,000. My first house was $52,000. And this was the area in Florida that beautiful homes, but they were just going for now these houses are going for $300,000-$400,000, and it's just like for what? I wouldn't give you $300,000 for this house. Get out of here, So, but it's nuts.
Yep.
So, Ryan, you recently had Ish on your show from BAMF Cigars, as well as Ronnie from the Great Pipe Cigar Show. Have you heard about how the TPA, the organization's going?
It's so far from what I understand, it's being very well received. I think they have a great introductory rate, $100 for a year for the manufacturer. But one of the things I think that they're going to do very well on, if they market it right, is allowing the consumer to actually have a membership, and then allowing each brand to give specific consumer style, maybe like a Cigar of the Month club, for lack of better understanding, just for simplified explanation, where they could focus on a small brand at a specific time each month. That'll give the brand the opportunity to kind of get themselves out, but that'll also give the consumer that's part of it that ability to come in at a lower rate to try a cigar that they've never even had before, and taking that risk. So I think in getting the consumer as involved as the manufacturer, it's good for both sides, right? Because let's break it down to the reality of this. All these are just data companies, right? The bottom line is these are data-driven companies. They want data on what people are smoking, who people are visiting, the content they're creating, they're selling, the information they're giving away. And I think when you bring the consumer and the manufacturer together, the data flows nicer. It's a lot more simpatico. versus the consumer constantly always being told to give up this, give me your email, give me this, give me that. It's kind of going to be more of a two-way street, and I like that. I really do like that, because there's a lot of other groups that you just kind of go and you're there and you have no say, and I don't know. I'm not going to say I think it's going to be 100%, a lifetime thing, but I think it's going to put a few of the other organizations potentially out, as the people running this group, in my opinion, are incredibly above board in their honesty and their integrity. And I think that's going to go a long, long way.
I'm a member now. I joined.
Yeah.
I joined those guys, and I've been messaging back and forth with them. And Ryan, I think you hit the nail on the head. But if you're going to create a group, especially for, I know it's involving all tobacco products, pipes and stuff, but
no cigarettes. That's
no cigarettes, right? But if you're gonna get start an organization, and it is going to focus more on smaller companies, right? You have to allow all the companies, if they're going to pay into that, there has to be a benefit. And all the companies need to rise, and they have to give all the companies, like you said, an opportunity. And Kevin, like you said, whether it's a cigar, the month club, whatever the case may be, it can't be an organization that is focused more on one or two brands, and then the rest of them are just paying the way for the elevation of two brands. It doesn't work that way. That's the way Boutique Cigar Association was set up, which is the whole reason why TPA came. It wasn't always set up, Brian. I was there in early stages of the Boutique Cigar Association.
No, that's the way it ended. That's the way it's ended.
Ended up.
Yeah, it was not.
That's the way it ended up. That's the way it ended up.
When we had conversations very early on of the concept of the BCA, and it was the BCAA back then, Boutique Cigar Association of America. It 100% was focused on the boutique brands, and there was a lot of great ideas and a lot of things that should have been done, and the rest is history. I don't need to.
So I'll say this, Care, in being in the tech world and going to a lot of conventions, being part of a lot of conventions, I will say this: time will tell. I don't think it's going to happen with this group, but time will tell when the money becomes a thing. And that becomes the driver. I don't feel it's going to be that way with this group. I know the people involved. The people involved could really care less about the money. But typically, that's where an organization takes a shit. Look at the NRA. Every organization starts good, and eventually the money takes over the upper echelon of leadership, and that's when it goes to shit. So time will tell. I like the base that this group has. I like the integrity that the group has with inside of it.
It's the two M's: the money, and what's your motive?
Exactly.
If you have ulterior motives. Listen, I was told a long time ago, you can shovel dirt on shit. The smell's still going to be there. And after a while,
But Ryan, I've had the NRA call me twice in the last 6 months, reminding me that my membership is expired. And twice I told them, change your leadership, right? And I'll come back.
Owners of America.
You can't have your leadership getting busted, embezzling millions and millions of dollars, and still have them part of your leadership.
I get hit up by them still. I mean, I get the mailers because I did a 5-year membership back 4 years ago, so I still have a year left. And they're like, "Oh, well, extend." I'm like, I have no interest in extending right now.
Yeah,
I was a member of the NRA until I was 20 years old, and then I never was a member again, because the NRA actually has supported every major gun legislation since the NRA's adoption and creation. They're the reason why we have the Federal Firearms Act of 1934. They're the reasons why we don't have fully automatic firearms. They're the reasons why we don't have silencers. They're the reasons behind the big push of every single gun legislation in this entire country. It wasn't until Wayne LaPierre that they actually started to stand up for stuff, that people started to go, wow, this is a good group. And then Wayne LaPierre started embezzling money.
Yeah.
So
nobody needs silencers, by the way. But we're just going to move on. We're going to move on from that.
Nobody needs silencers.
Nobody needs silencers. Stella's staring at us here.
Are you sure, Kevin?
But Tim, now I'd like to get your thoughts. I'm on the fence of the TPA allowing consumers in. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't I don't know. I can't articulate why I don't think consumers should be allowed in, at least from the beginning. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I could see there being a consumer advisory board or consulting group or something to that effect, where they keep in mind what the consumers want to do or what they want to see out of it and have. But at the end of the day, the businesses are the ones that are going to benefit. Yes, the consumers will benefit by getting exposed to and seeing what else is out there in the industry and in the marketplace. But, if you're going to start with something that's an association usually, when it's started by multiple businesses, is focused on those businesses. And to open it up to consumers, yes, to have input, to do different things like that, to get feedback is great. But I don't know that it's going to be a good driving force for them.
You think a little too early? Like that's something that is downstream, which would be a good idea. You have to build that group first.
Yes.
And then enter that downstream.
Yes, because, I see it, so early. How many consumers after, hey, I can get in for the first year for $50, and then you don't get anything for your first year. You don't get any. Maybe you're expecting something, maybe some deals or something, but the organization is building and growing.
Yep.
How many of those do you disenfranchise that don't come back? It's like 2 or 3 years from now, when maybe there is something that they can offer consumers, like, oh, I was part of the beginning. You don't get anything, they just take your money, so yeah.
Can I ask a question then?
Yeah.
Just on that topic of the organization, then if you put consumers on the back seat for a minute, right? Let it develop. Isn't it part of this organization, this group, to start pushing these brands out to the consumers though? Shouldn't that be part of it? Like the advertisement, isn't that what you're paying for?
So I there's a large enough base of businesses or of companies to say that they have a loud enough voice to be able to read. And that's my personal opinion. I could be off base and I'm fine with that. But I don't think that they have a loud enough voice with enough people in the boat yet.
Yeah. Okay. Now, to answer your question as well, I think for the consumer aspect of it, first off, for the manufacturer aspect, to have an open base of consumers that they can connoisseur club cigars with, like, hey, we're going to send out 2 cigars. We want you to review these. One of these might be our next ones. And they just show up at your door. Like, to have that ready-made sample audience is invaluable, because normally you got to get people to buy your cigars. Now they're going to taste them, give you your feedback. They tried it for free. They liked it. They feel a stake because they helped pick it maybe or gave feedback. Now they have a little bit more quote unquote ownership in that brand, in that cigar coming to market. I think when it comes to, again, it's all about the data, right? As long as the data for the manufacturer leads them to the customer and the customer is led to the manufacturer, it's simpatico, good for both parties. Where it becomes a parasite is only when one side is giving up information to the detriment of the other side. So if only manufacturers are giving out stuff, constantly asking for money from the consumer, not giving away free goods just for being a member, now that's a parasitic relationship that it's going to fall down. But I think if the relationship goes back and forth, it's good.
It has to. I mean, look at, sorry, Kara, look at, we've got Dan Thompson who's been watching in. Look at Micallef and what they've done. If you want to model somebody who cares about the consumers, but also is invested in the consumers, that model works well for that brand to magnify that with multiple brands. If there isn't, like you said, Ryan, 100%, if there isn't the give and take on both sides, then it is not mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, Jessica. Well, first, before I comment on, to yours, Jessica, Bones just said 3 of my favorite people, and there's 5 of us. So
I know.
I was apparently 2 of us suck, Bones. So you might want to. You might want to edit that statement, or you might want to call out the 2 people you don't like so much. And
I know Uncle Barry loves me, so I don't
worry. We know you're definitely one of them.
I'm like, I know.
We're on the bottom row for a reason, Ryan.
Yeah.
And as long as we know that,
We're the well drink of the show.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the maker's mark. We haven't made it up to the top shelf yet.
Yeah.
You're the Brady kids that no one likes down there.
Yeah.
But the one thing after joining, the one thing I am very curious about is learning more about the mission statement of the organization, right? Because I think that's really key, especially when you're going to bring in multiple groups. It's just not manufacturing cigar brand owners or pipe tobacco brand owners. If you're going to be bringing in lounges, if you're going to allow consumers, you have to have at least a mission statement with a plan in place where there is a benefit or there is a role that each one of these members are going to play and benefit from. So I'm really curious. I think right now there's a lot of speculation, a lot of ideas being thrown out right now of what would work best. But I am curious to see how this is all going to develop. Maybe there is a plan on, Tim, to your point, why they're allowing consumers in early. Is this something where they want early exposure? Are they planning to have some sort of a monthly club that they can join, or was it just, a hasty decision? We don't know yet. And I don't even know yet. I'm still waiting even for some pictures to be put up on a website. That'd be nice,
right.
Guys.
But I do want to say during the interview that when they were on Ryan's show, I kept hearing the word transparency. Like they just want everything to be transparent. So maybe that's why bringing the consumer in, they can see it from the ground up, right? Like there's going to be bumps, there's going to be hiccups. And like, if they all bounce ideas and come up with this, epic thing that they want to do, I guess maybe it's getting all feedback from all sides. Maybe that's kind of the idea.
That's what I was going to be my
advisory board being the play for that.
That was going to be my point, is that if they want transparency, which they talk about. And the other thing too is, I think that there needs to be some more meat to terms that are used. We want exposure. We want to give everybody exposure. What does that mean? If you're an association, what does it mean to give a brand owner, a cigar brand owner, whether it's me or the Trash Panda Cigar? What does it mean? What does it mean to get more exposure? What should I expect? What shouldn't I expect? What's a realistic expectation? Because I want to make sure that my expectations are realistic. And to your point, Jessica, bringing people in, it is being very transparent, but the transparency needs to lie and reside within everyone. But more importantly is what that core unit is, which are the manufacturers and the group. That's where some of the other organizations, the lack of transparency occurred. That's why you start seeing people branching off and breaking off, is when that lack of transparency occurs at the front lines. And then you see only certain boats rising with the tide. That's where you see some break off.
Yep.
Yeah. I would have expected to. And I haven't become a member yet because, like I said, I know it's a discounted rate right now. But 100% honest, I don't think I'm going to get anything for the first year. So I literally just be throwing my money away for a year. I'll join when there's some substance there. I would hold on. So I would like to have seen, if you're going to create this organization that's going to be a disruptor, we want to do what the PCA, the BCA, the C, we want to take all these from, and opening day, you don't have a website that isn't crap. I'm just going to throw that out there. That should have been up and running. You should have had like you said, should have had a mission statement, should have had all your ducks in a row. You can talk about it. Hey, this is coming. This is coming. This is coming. But then you start taking people's money, and I'm not bashing it. I love these guys, and I love what this organization can become. But like I said, on opening day, you better have a website.
But transparency is a two-way street too, Kevin. All you're doing is being transparent. So as much as the person like myself expects them to be transparent with me, then they should expect me to be transparent with them. And respectfully, Ken, Oscar, Ish, Ronnie, all those guys, I know them. They're great. I'm guys. Very good friends with Dr. Rodriguez and Ish. Have done some wonderful things for me and my organization, and for Cigar Cigars. And I really have a genuine friendship with a lot of these guys. And I do think that type of transparency both ways, everyone can benefit from it, because you got to be willing to understand and hear the feedback. Like when Kevin says something as simple as get a website set up, I've set up my own website, and Lord knows I am no freaking website builder. It doesn't take much to throw a fucking picture of a tobacco leaf.
Well, they don't need a website. They just need a landing page. Like they need
a landing page.
But even a landing page, but even some things like that. And I know I'm getting very minuscule with the criticism, but
it's valid. It's valid. It's incredibly listen. When I used to do marketing, I can't tell you how many people I saw in test studies and test polls and in case studies that said if there's no website, I don't trust the business. Now, whether the business is a complete sham, the fact that the website exists lends credibility. So I'm not discounting that. What I think is going on is they're trying to gauge the interest inside the world for another association and get the money together. And again, I'm guessing here. I'm not part of it in that way, right? But I think, and they should be upfront if this is what they're doing, but getting some finances together to be able to put the back end together, because it is a lot of upfront expense. And usually an association takes up to 24 months usually to get going.
They're crowdfunding for seed money is what they're doing.
Correct. And in doing that, they're kind of smart in the sense that they're gauging interest and not blowing tens of thousands of dollars of their own money on something that just nobody wants to be part of.
Right. But I think that's what Tim said, was getting a panel would be
correct. And I think
as well.
Yes, I don't disagree with that. I think if that's what they're doing, they need to say that. But again, and I'm very biased. I'm just gonna be very upfront. I'm incredibly biased. I trust them. I'm willing to give them the 12 months to see where it goes.
Yeah, let it play out.
Let it play out.
I don't think any of the criticism or feedback has to do with trust in the least bit, because like I said, all these guys are very trustworthy. But look at Kevin's question when you talk about, gaining someone's interest, right? Kevin, what interests you? What would you want to know about? He's a little bit of a naysayer, right? So how would you capture someone like Kevin's interest in an organization like this?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, where is that mission statement? Like Kara says, like how am I going to benefit? You need to break it down. You just don't say, like I said, we're going to help you get new customers. We're going to help you with this and that, on a podcast. But then a website creeps up and there's nothing, and then you're not seeing them on social media afterwards. It's like, how many, Tim, I'm sure you promoted the or sent out the press release as well that went out. I read like 12 different press releases, and there wasn't a single email address in a single press release. Nobody had a single email address to where you could email this organization for more information. There wasn't a single one. Like,
and Ryan, like you, I joined a TPA, so I am, I would say I'm biased, but I believed enough in the core group to join, so I'm in there. But I use Kevin as an example because I know Kevin, I respect Kevin. But if you're looking to try and convince some folks, or you're trying to get individuals to understand what your mission statement is, then you got to listen to people like Kevin and what he's saying.
Listen, I tell an association, anybody I've ever worked with that's put together events like this will tell you their goal is to give $5x value on whatever they're paid into. Now, whether that value is in information or clientele or whatever, they need to give a ROI on that $100 return. Yes, it's only $100, and care that's not keeping food out of your mouth. But that is $100 from a small business where every dollar matters. So your dollar should be in some value, returning some X of multitude of value back to you. And I think they need to lay out what that X amount of value is.
I'd honestly even want to hear something as simple as, listen, your the first year is going to be rough. Your membership fee is going to be going towards the website building. It's going to be, even something as simple as that, you can get behind something like that. But when it's nothing or very little, that's where I think, and you need to get, like, look at everybody here. We all have shows. We all do this. We all do that. Get out. And I think there needs to be more, and Jessica, maybe you could weigh on this being a social media expert. I think there needs to be more out there because it's pretty tough. I mean, there's not a lot of information out there.
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to what in an interview that I did with Ricky Rodriguez at PCA a year and a half ago, where, you know, I asked him, what was it like getting the new accounts since you broke off on your own for West Tampa? And he said, I had enough people that said, I believe in you, so I'm going to jump on. Mm-hmm. He said, but if I don't deliver a good product, I will lose all of them. Mm-hmm. And that's what needs to happen here. If people are buying in because of the good people that are running it, fantastic. That's great. That's what you have a network for. But if the result, the product, the what comes out of it isn't something that people are going to continue to desire and supporting, it's going to go away. And I don't mean that as, you know, I see this going away, but if they don't get the product to really show what the return on investment for the consumers are, it's not going to be, you know, something that's sustainable.
And I also, and I said this, and I said this to Ish and Ronnie. I said this: training. People wouldn't think an association people need to be trained, but there's training that involves inside of this association. You have to train people what you are. You have to, like, there's a reason. It's always fun to listen to like marketing masters talk about like the story of Coke. It was like 100 years before Coke was able just to put up a bottle and you knew what the hell it was. Nobody questions what it is. It's because they put the money behind it to educate the consumer what the picture is. And I think when it comes to this, there's going to have to be education. But I also told this to Ronnie and Ish, and Ronnie's a little bit more timid as far as going at this. They also need to go for the jugular on some of these other groups in the sense of, there's a reason why this group is starting out of another group that is already started. So they need to differentiate and explain to the manufacturer why we're better. And you can't have too many boutique groups out there, right? And let's be honest, this is going to be more of a boutique organization to begin with, association to begin with, okay? So you can't have too many. People are going to have to make a decision, and they're going to decide with the value that comes out with it. And they need to differentiate themselves. They can't just go, well, just be part of both of us. That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
People need to know the why. People need to know why they're starting, why they exist, all those different things. I mean, Kevin, you and I both, I'm going to bring up a name from a couple years ago, a guy named Steve, who was trying to start this different group and all these different things online and build the website.
Oh, yeah.
And time after time after time, there was a letdown, and it was very clear it was for personal gain. I'm not saying this is for personal gain.
Yeah.
But if the people that are buying into it or that want to support it don't see anything other than the manufacturer's personal gain, then their personal money isn't going to continue supporting that.
And I think that's what that is the unfortunate, whether it's intended or unintended byproduct, when you have consumers join in early. If you have if it's all manufacturers that everybody understands what the money's for and what's being done. When you do start bringing in consumers, everyone's going to be saying, you know, the whip 'em, what's in it for me?
Yep.
I tell you, Tim, that group started off as media, as manufacturers, and then we started to see why is this person in this group? Well, they're a brand ambassador on Instagram for them, and it's like, they're like a really big supporter of that.
I remember those.
So we're gonna let that in, and then it was and then you started to see the manufacturers talking less, because at the beginning, it was influencers, media, manufacturers, there's good conversations in there, and it was kind of private conversations, something that maybe we don't want the average consumer to know. Not that we're hiding anything, we just have secrets.
There's shop talk.
There's shop talk. It's
but there's also some stuff that not necessarily doesn't need to be discussed, but it's also doesn't need to be explained.
Yeah.
Right. So earlier, Tim said stuff about his camera and all that stuff. I said he spoke a totally different language, but you understood it. There's certain things. So it's like, do you have to stop in a group that you signed up for that are all those people are supposed to be on your level to explain what's happening? That's the difference, right? You shouldn't have to do that, right? Yeah, it's okay if people want to learn and ask questions, but that's not in that particular group. That's what it was set up for. So it's sort of the same thing. This is set up for certain for manufacturers, but like, where do the consumers fit in? How much explaining has to be done? How much stuff gets involved? And when does it become like a chore for some of these manufacturers?
Yeah, and this information will be revealed once this, and what was it? August, right? The timeline from when you could become a member, this new buy-in, or wasn't it to the end of August?
Yeah, August. Yeah.
So I'm hoping like sometime at the end of August, once that time frame has been elapsed, that some of this information will be revealed.
Yeah.
But
I
to get people on that journey, I think you need to do
I hope so, because I say, the attention span of most people, if it's a year from now, people are like, oh, wait a minute, they get their renewal notice. Hey, it's time to renew. And you're like, well, I haven't heard from you in a year.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are still a thing? Like, oh, God, no.
But I want to go back to what Tim said about a panel, though. Maybe they should go around to different groups, ask people if they want to be part of these a panel, get together, all discuss, on a Zoom or whatever, and get all this other feedback. Like, maybe there'll be more clarity from talking to people from different elements, right? Like, it can't be all the people that feel secure and safe with each other talking all the time. It needs to be from a multitude of different.
But yeah, just right. Why haven't there been Zooms? Why hasn't there been, to all the media? Hey, the TPA, we're putting out a Zoom. We're going to be talking about maybe some of the things are coming. We want your input. That should have been like a weekly or bi-weekly thing. I don't know.
Kevin, you said something earlier. Kevin, you said something earlier about being you got to be more than just a disruptor, right? Yeah. Because if the intent, and I'm not saying this is their intent, this is just building off what you said.
Right. Of course.
If you are just if the goal is just to be a disruptor, if you don't do it right, then all you're going to do is you're going to make the folks that you're trying to disrupt look even better, and you'll have everyone run back.
Yes.
And further solidify, some of the other groups that really don't deserve that.
Yeah. See, I told you they were just. It's gonna be. See, I told you they were just looking to take your money.
Right.
We told you that from the beginning.
You're full of shit. And you know what? The fuck those guys, man. They could spin the biggest bullshit weave in the world, man. So that's why I joined. I joined because I do believe that they have. I do believe that, and I'm always weary of good intentions because the old saying of good intentions. But I do believe that the guys that are starting this, I do believe they're doing it for all the right reasons. And I do think that it will be something that will be a benefit. It's just, I think there, like you said, there just needs to be a little bit more out there. You need to have Jessica put some social media stuff out there.
Yeah. You know what though? Like, they need to get somebody like Kevin in there. I think Kevin, business wise, is a pessimist first before optimist, in the sense that he looks at how it could potentially not work for him, and then tries to talk himself into it from the standpoint of, I know it's not going to work. Now I got to talk myself into it. And I think if they were to bring, and that's through no downside of Kevin, that's a great business acumen to have. That comes from somebody that has had failures in life and has learned from them and is taking those steps to prevent it. Right. So
But I want to interrupt you for a second about this, though. Like, when Kevin first started, yes, absolutely, there's been failures and all that stuff, but he's been helpful to so many people on so many levels and didn't ever ask for anything in return. But I think when you get to a certain level, though, and something like this, when you join something like this, what does it take from all of what you've done, right? Not that that's like you're gatekeeping anything, but then all of this hard work, all of this sacrifice, all this stuff that you have done and you're sharing, but then you get nothing in return from that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a hard sell.
It is. And I actually disagree. I don't think media should be a part of the association and giving input. If it's truly gauged towards the consumers, the media needs to stay out of it, because media can be, and we've all seen it, media can be slanted one way or the other based on who their sponsors are, based on who their favorite brands are, based on all those different things. If you truly want to have an association that is there to disrupt, that is there to do things differently, that is there to take the people that have been burnt by so many other associations out there, and they want to learn what the consumer truly wants, you have to leave the media completely out of it and just get the consumer's input.
Hey Ryan, when you said Kevin's a pessimist, I like to look at it this way. There's optimists and there's pessimists, right? The optimist says that the glass is half full. The pessimist says the glass is half empty. Kevin's a realist. Kevin says, "How much was the fucking glass?"
Yeah,
because I could feel that shit. How much was the glass? What's the cost?
That's it. Like Jessica, like there's so many people that have reached out to me, for help over the years, and I am a pessimist sometimes. And people, I'm like, listen, it's going to fail. You're like you want to be a cigar reviewer. The market is oversaturated. You're probably not going to do good, but let's give you a good shot. Let's talk about what you want to do. How like your game plan, and let's work through it. You convince me, I will help you. I don't think it's going to work, but at least I have the knowledge to give you the best start that you could possibly have to potentially make it work, and prove me wrong. And so many people have proved me wrong, but I helped them. But yeah, like on this organization, so many things I'd have done differently, but I don't know. It's I know the guys. I love the guys. I trust the guys with my money. Well, I mean, I would. I haven't given them any money yet because I don't think I'm going to get anything for it. But that is.
But for you, I would have the whole as a consumer, as a business, as a manufacturer, and then as a media, how do you fit into that?
Well, exactly, and I would have and I would have given them money beforehand. If I was starting an organization, I would have reached out to 100 companies. Like, here, this is what we're going to do. We need $100. I know it's not a lot of money. We want to start this organization. Here's what it's going to do. I would have given them $200. Yes, I like your plans. Here's my $100. Even if I don't get anything, that's fine. I know you're building a website. You're building this company. But to come out of the gate and say, hey, give us $100. We're going to do this, this, and this. And then a couple months later, we still don't have anything. That's where it would check my ass a little bit.
I suspect there was a rationale not reaching out to companies prior to that because, as you know,
you couldn't.
Loose lips sink ships.
It'll spread like wildfire.
Exactly. Hey, this new organization is starting up.
But someone just contacted me, and since we're good buddies, I wanted to tell you that they're trying to break away and blah blah blah.
But that would have generated buzz. Tim, you're in the media business. Buzz, good or bad, buzz is good. Buzz is buzz.
We're talking about it.
There's thing too.
I told them they're going to have 12 months of a string before it's going to get pulled. Once that string is pulled, they're going to have to show face or show their cards. They got 12 months to put it together. Anybody willing to give $100? No. What my point is, anybody giving them $100 now, in the next 12 months, they've got to produce to show that $100.
By the renewal date, when I get that renewal notice,
they've got to produce.
You've got to show me. You got to show me something on that.
I think they got to. I think you got to the end of the year, and then if you're looking at 2025 with not much on deck circle,
I would agree.
That's when you're going to start looking at folks going, well, PCA is right around the corner. This is right around the corner. What's this? I do think that is, for me, looking at it. Not for. I mean, I think my input or my opinion on where I think the time frame is. You got to the end of the year.
I don't disagree.
And by no means do I think what they're doing is easy at all.
No.
What they're taking on and what they're trying to do is hard. And I think as much support that they, that they're going to need, there has to be clarity though. Without that, you're not going to get the correct support, right? There's going to be more confusion. And that's where I think, like you said, before the end of this year, there needs to be some structure. There needs to be like the mission. There needs to be these panels, these discussions.
Like Tim said, there needs to be tangibles.
Yep.
We need something.
I think the one thing that they have that's positive versus, like I said, when the BCA started off, you had several companies coming in together, right? And I think at some point, a lot of folks were all in because it was a new concept for a very short period of time. And then you had only a couple of people trying to make a concept and an association work. I think here what they have as their benefit is the people who are starting it all seem to be 100% in, all are vested. And you're not just having someone named as a vice president who's never shown up to a fucking meeting, or someone who's named as a freaking secretary who's never showed up to the meeting. It's always the same two people showing up at a meeting and having discussions about things, and all you have are people's names in slots of the group. I think these guys actually, that's the one thing I believe for their group they have really going for them, is that they are all in it. I think they're all on the same page. And if they're all working towards a common goal, they'll get elevation faster. Because if you know BCA, what is BCAA? We just kind of limped around for years before even getting any type of even acknowledgement. So I think that's the one thing that they do have on their side that will generate some lift faster.
I think your name will only get you the ability to put off so much until you can come up with something to show somebody. And if they were nobodies, their name wouldn't mean anything. But because they are who they are, they do have, I would agree with you, Care, until the end of the year to come up with something that people are going to go, that's why I bought into it. Yes. And at least the road work or the actual implementation of a program of some kind.
Perfect. All right. Hopefully, maybe Ish, they'll see this show. Ryan, you can send them to them. Maybe take in some of our feedback here for tonight. Let's move on. It's halfway through the year. Can you guys believe it's July? It's July 4th this week. It is halfway through the year. I mean, we are all getting.
Well, it's also 1 month before school starts again, though.
All the parents.
Can I just say something really quick about time? About time. So, how many of you remember? Right, it's a long time ago. I'm 39. It feels like forever fucking ago. 39. Sitting in a classroom when you're 8 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, looking at the clock, going, class has only been going on for 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. And now you like blink. You're like, I just woke up and it's 5 o'clock. Like I can't believe I've been up for 12 hours already.
You're doing work on the computer. You get up to go to the bathroom. You come back. It's been 20 minutes. You're like, wait, what? I was there for 2 seconds.
I know.
It's like,
I know. It's nuts.
So July.
Nuts.
So July means we're halfway through the year. That means we're halfway through starting to hear about cigar of the year list. About
great feedback, Dan.
What people are talking about, and first of all, what's everybody smoking on the regular? Does anybody have a regular go-to cigar? That they're. I mean, I know it's tough for Tim and I. I mean, we're because of what we do in the media. But what about what's everybody smoking on the regular?
Okay, so since I don't review cigars anymore, my ability to smoke cigars, I feel, is just so much more open on the freedom of it. Not waiting to have a cigar until, so like I get to actually kind of relax. I'm not gonna lie, the blue, and it's not just because Dan's here. The blue is the go-to. The Micallef blue is the go-to for my wife and I. The blue and the black. The black came out last year. The blue was released this year. Right now, that's what my wife and I are really, really loving a lot of, and a lot of it is the price point. We can smoke 3/4 of it, not feel like we're wasting anything because we've had our fill of it, and it's $7. My wife picks up a Chancellor, and I'm like, you better smoke at least 90% of it, because it's 18. So when it costs for bang for your buck, man, that blue is just number one in my book for this year.
Yeah. Jessica, we were, I don't know, we were at dinner at your parents, I don't know, a couple months ago, whatever. And we were going to bring a couple cigars, and I was going to bring the Tatuaje, the NFT. And she's like,
for Mike, for my brother-in-law.
For brother-in-law. And then she's like, I want one. I go, you going to smoke the whole thing?
Yeah, he was being such a jerk about it.
I am not bringing $100 cigar for you to smoke half of this thing.
That's a great question. It's a valid question.
Did Mike smoke the whole thing? He absolutely did motherfucking not.
Yeah, so.
Are you going to smoke $33 of this?
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But I was upset because I smoked all of mine, but my brother-in-law did not smoke all of it.
So what about you, Tim? You smoking anything on the regular?
With all the review stuff I'm still going through. When I do sit back and have one for me, I've been burning through quite a few of the new Crown Heads Coronettas, the Maduro and Habano both. Absolutely love that cigar, or both of those, I should say. I'm still really enjoying the EP Allegiance. I really enjoy, and it was done just for Little Guy Cigar Shop, but Casa Cuevas did their Patrimonio that they came out with back a few years ago. And they did a box press Toro. And that is, I've just about burned through my entire box. That when I want to sit back at the end of the day and not have to think about a cigar and enjoy it, the Patrimonio for Little Guy is definitely one that I go to time and time again.
You ever have back when I used to do a lot of cigar reviews, so I wonder if you're the same way, like you have like that cigar you're waiting to review because like it's new, you haven't had it yet, it's sitting in there, and then it sucks because you got to work now. When you're smoking it, you got to turn the camera on, you got to take your notes, and then you're not enjoying this. You are, but you're not enjoying the cigar because it is work. And then you're like, damn it, that was the only one I had, and it's just, this sucks.
I had one a couple weeks ago, and I won't say who it's from, but I had one a couple weeks ago that got sent to me with a number from their line, a number of other ones, and really wanted to just enjoy it and check it out and review it, and started getting through about the first third and just couldn't do it. It wasn't for me, and I was looking forward to it a lot, and I just decided, you know what, it's just not for me at all. And so I put it down, and I was looking forward to doing the review and putting it out. But then there's others that, I put out a review on the Umbagog Bronzeback about a week ago.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm really bummed that I only had that one because I want more. So I need to get some more. But and I know Steve's working on the back orders and getting it out and doing it the right way and all of that. But yeah, no, there are times where I sit back and I'm like, okay, I'm going to review this one. I've been looking forward to it, and it just does not hit. And it's not a matter of, oh, it was a bad day, so my mind is negative. It just doesn't hit. And those are the frustrating times, because then you want to sit back and enjoy and light up another one, but you know that your palate isn't where you want it to be because you just had a really bad experience. And so it's like, well, I guess I'll just take a break, or I'll just, because it's later at night when I do most of my reviews, I guess I'll just have something different tomorrow and start fresh again.
Yeah, I hear you. Like last night, like I said, it was I'd had like 4 or 5 cigars throughout the day, and I wanted to finish with just a cigar because I'm, it just whatever. It's a habit for me now. It's just I just smoke cigars. Sometimes you get, and then I picked up an old vintage Rocky Patel 1992, and I'm like halfway through it, and I'm like, damn it, this is a good cigar. Like, man, I didn't take a picture or nothing. I'm like, wasted
I like the vintage
cigar.
92. That was
good.
Very, very good.
The decade is good too.
Yeah. I had a decade earlier the day. I just saw it, and I'm like, I haven't had a decade in forever. Yeah, it's a decent cigar. It's a lot of house blends. Right. People go and they want the decade as their house. A lot of people will just say, hey, this is a decade with our band on it. It is what it is. There's nothing different about that. But there's a reason why a lot of people smoke the decade. So what are a couple cigars people thinking about? Tim, you got anything on your list for the year? That are up there.
Really like the Blackbird Superb. Really like that cigar. Phenomenal. Superb, pun intended. Absolutely a superb cigar. That one's really good. I've actually got a list here because I knew that we were going to talk about it. The Bronzeback is another good one. And again, the Coronettas from Crown Heads are all good. The EP Encore Black is phenomenal. I also reviewed the Maduro recently. The Maduro was very good. I haven't tried the new Sumatra, but yeah, there's definitely a few, those that are in serious consideration for this year.
Ryan, what about you?
I've been liking the Chancellor. I thought was great. Jesus, I had some in mind, but now I feel like I'm tongue tied. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of at a loss right now. Threw me on the spot, and I feel like I'm buried.
Well, we'll go with Care, and then if you think something, you come back. Care, you smoked that Cornetta the other night. You said that you liked that.
Real delicious, yeah. And I also want to know what Jessica's been smoking since Kevin ignored us, Jessica, on what we smoked.
I know. I was like, he's
okay.
really skipping us.
Okay.
It's cool.
Because I know Kevin's going to say, "Well, I smoke my own cigars, Stogie Road cigars on a regular." I do.
I know.
But there's been a couple of cigars that really have been in my rotation more so recently, and one of them is the Gurkha Revenant that's made by Ram at LRT. That cigar is
crazy,
great, really
good.
Surprised the shit out of me because you hear everybody is, "Oh, it's Gurkha." That cigar is exceptional.
So where I will say,
go ahead.
Where I will say Gurkhas are exceptional when a Flores does them or Orsa does them. I don't know who commissions the regular stuff, but I mean, when they commission it out, it's incredible.
Yeah, this was by happenstance.
No, I haven't had it yet.
Yeah. It was by happenstance when we got it, and it was fantastic. We were up in New Jersey a few weeks ago for family things, and going to Sanj Patel's lounge and picking up some of his cigars, especially the industry.
His new stuff is
industry
good.
Killer. It's just everything. We were up there was fantastic, and Jennifer's going back up again to pick up some more this weekend. But like I said, the Revenant's been really good, and I had one the other night. There's two more. One is AJ's new Brazil was freaking crazy good. Now AJ doesn't know how to make a bad cigar.
No, he does not.
But I got to tell you, that Brazil was just an exceptional cigar. And I don't know if you know the name Felix Mesa, but he originally started off with, he has a brand El Galan Cigars. And then he was working with Fuente with his Nicaraguan factory and started there, building that up. And he is also now back on his own, and he's reinventing the El Galan line. So I'm really excited to try that line again that's coming back out, because I know his cigar, the Vegas de Plurial, when he released that a few years ago, that was originally made with, I think the binder was a FFMC. It was a Fuente Mesa collaboration tobacco that was just freaking crazy good. So I'm excited about his brand being re-released. I always felt his stuff was exceptional.
So I see in the comments real quick, having the Patina Oro de Nicaragua by from Mo Molly, that is a phenomenal cigar. If you guys
I haven't tried any of his stuff yet.
Oh my gosh, I've actually got the Patina Habano next after, if get through the Warfighter one here that I've got. But that Oro de Nicaragua is just money. I was lucky enough to try that after PCA 2024. He gave me one before it was released. The blend was done, but he said, "Hey, let me know what you think on it." And I fell in love with it then. And then when it came out and he said, "Yeah, that's what you had a year ago," I was like, "Well, I already loved it then." It's just insane.
Okay.
I was just sitting down with John from Warfighter Tobacco for just a personal.
Next week.
Oh, are they? So he was telling me the story about like he was there when I think Uday and Hussein were.
Yeah, I gotta take the dogs out of here.
Oh, okay. Like tell me about how they stormed like the room. They end up taking them down, and he's telling me this story, and I'm like, and telling me like they're on the stairwell and everything else, and I go, I know this story. I know exactly. Like he's looking at me like, what? And I go, I was just listening to the Sean Ryan show, and he had a Navy SEAL on who was in charge of that group that led the storming of that room. And I'm like, you were on the stairwell behind, because he talked about like the guys that were behind him. I go, oh my God, you were behind like this guy. And I'm like, oh, super, super cool. Oh, John's a great, crazy storyteller. So
yep.
I'm excited. So I have some cigars. So the King of Clowns,
yeah,
absolutely incredible. Boston Jimmy gave it a 97. I think it was valid. I know Boston Jimmy's criticized for sometimes giving higher review numbers than others, but the King of Clowns from Cigar Clowns was great. The Giuseppe was fantastic. Kevin, I will agree with you. I'm actually wearing their underwear right now. The Apostate Cigars, Candela, was out of this fucking world. I will moon you to prove to you I am wearing their underwear. I love that Candela. First off, that Candela was the most aggressive, mean, beat your ass looking Candela leaf that I've ever seen. It was rolled through the ground, but my God, did it smoke excellent.
Yeah.
Kevin turned me on. Absolutely the Candela of the year, in my opinion. And it beat the Holy Lancer, which is a high bar.
That Candela, I said it in a short video, that Candela is now the bar.
Yeah.
Which Candelas. If I ever, people know that I love Care, and I love Candelas. Care has a Candela. I haven't created Candela. I can't imagine creating one now, because that's the bar that I have to compete against. Like I'll just keep buying theirs. There's no reason for me to create one, because I don't think I could do any better than what they have done. It's like
modern and traditional all at the same time.
Yeah. I'm happy with our Candela, because we get our Candela. It's fantastic. Great, vibrant colors, great flavor. But when I smoked that cigar, I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, they're not buying it. They're having it made.
They're having it made on the factory. They're on the farm.
Their farm. They're the only ones using that, and I love it. Jessica's back. Jessica, what have you been digging on other than your shorties this year?
Oh, you mean my cigarellos?
she smokes like 10 a day.
No, probably less now.
Turn your mic back on, Jess.
Sorry.
She's smoking like 8 a day now.
8 a day. No, I was not really smoking a ton of like new cigars, but I was really smoking a lot of Popettas there for a while. It was just a quick, easy smoke, but I just love that cigar. It's so good. But I was getting a little addicted to some Alfonsos. My wallet did not like the price tag on those, but they are fantastic cigars. So I always tell people, if you're going to go out and you're going to spend time going out, to a lounge, and you're out for the night, you went to a dinner, you want to splurge on a cigar, an Alfonso, hands down, fantastic cigar to spend your higher end money. Adventura cigars.
Great.
King's Tooth, you were just talking short ones.
Oh,
these are not cheap. They're not cheap for a short cigar, but man, I gotta say, ADV he's young, and I'm looking so forward to seeing where he's going to be at.
Henderson knows what he's doing.
They are a sleeper company. I don't think a lot of people know about and understand the pedigree, but obviously the smoking crowd knows them very well. But I think ADV is a brand. If I'm new and upcoming to cigars, I will tell most people, if you're looking for a young brand with a great lineage, ADV is definitely somewhere to go. You're going to pay for them, but they're somewhere to go for sure.
Very good.
Who put out a really good Connecticut that is not a typical Connecticut is the Postania Connecticut in Justice format that they released this year at PCA. That's a very, very good. It's got some spice to it, some strength, all of that. That Postania Connecticut in Justice format is very, very good.
And I'm always going to advocate for the Perla de Mars, the PDMs. You can't go wrong with your Connecticut. It's a shade. It's
the shade, yeah.
Maduro. All three of them. Doesn't matter which one you smoke or what time. They're all so good.
The American too. The American is incredible.
The
American is costly though.
You pay for it.
Tim talked about Connecticut. I never thought I would ever have a Connecticut on my cigar list ever.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I used to enjoy, because I always thought that they were mild. And now even Karen and we've talked about this on the show in the past, I have been smoking more Connecticut's this year than I ever have. And that Army of Angels Connecticut, the Maduro made the my number one cigar 2 years ago. That Connecticut is on my list. That's probably one of the best Connecticut cigars on the market today is the Army of Angels. You can get a Corona cigar, but there's so many good Connecticut's, so many good ones.
Yeah, we're doing them right. I don't overlook them anymore in a humidor. I don't overlook them anymore, especially with the company. You got to look at the company. You pick up a good Connecticut from the right company, it'll knock your socks off.
Yeah, and the 5-year anniversary of the Artisanal del Tobacco, the Jester is. I just did a review on that one, and that one I don't think I've posted it yet, but that one is very good. I had the Club 500 at PCA. And the Jester is very good.
So I know it's an older cigar, but one of my go-to Connecticut's is still the Crema.
Espinosa Crema, yeah.
The Espinosa Crema. I most people are like, why do you want something that gives you a bloody nose in the morning? Because it wakes me up. Like I love the Espinosa Crema. And in fact, the latest Warhead, not only is that one of the coolest boxes, but the latest Warhead is absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, I just reviewed that one last week. It hasn't posted yet, and that one was very, very, very good. But if I'm going to go light for Espinosa, the Crema is very good, but I'm still a sucker for the 601 Black.
I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing. There's nothing. I buy the 601 green by the box. If I'm going to smoke an Espinosa, 99% of the time it's going to be the green. It just I love that cigar.
Speaking of the Phoebe Cates from Protocol, fantastic, right? Phoebe Cates, am I saying that right? Yes, right? Is that correct? Am I saying the newest Lawman series for the female?
I'm not sure.
No,
I don't know. Your volume's a little low for me, so I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you either.
Okay,
you're getting ready to say something, Care? Or
no? I was going to say that the one Connecticut that really kind of turned the tide for me is the one that Amendola makes. That is that was the one.
Yes,
that was
the cannoli.
Yeah, the Cremosa. It was like
Cremosa. Okay,
I smoked the Cremosa. I was like, Jeffrey, you know what, man? You got
that'll hit you too. That's got strength.
Yeah. Kevin, I think you smoked it very early on when it was but before it had some time to sit.
Kick my ass.
That was it was like. Yeah, it was like he sent this and I smoked it and I said that was the second cigar that ever made me come close to being like, this might have been a little too much for me, which I was like, what the heck is going on? But it was because it was very new.
But I think a lot of manufacturers have figured out that line of like people, you gotta start making these Connecticut's, I think, a little bolder, a little stronger, and then but that Connecticut wrapper is still good. And some people, I think they're a lot more milder Connecticut's. All the Connecticut's that I think that we all seem to be drawn to from our list are Connecticut's that are a little spicier and a little bit more, fuller body.
And I want to make the correction. The correction. The Phoebe Cousins is what I was talking about, and that's a Rosado wrapper. That's a Sumatra Rosado.
Yeah, I think you were saying Phoebe Cates, which I think was a character.
Yeah, Phoebe Cates was the girl from. Phoebe Cates was the girl that I think that went topless in that.
Yeah, that was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I was just saying it had something to do with boobs.
I prefer Phoebe Cates over the other one.
This goes to show that every guy thinks of boobs.
Yeah. Kevin, what were you smoking? What did you start your show with smoking?
I started this with the M81 Blackened.
The M81 Blackened, fantastic cigar. Literally,
I like the S84 too, though.
First time, it was great. The Connecticut, I was not a fan. I thought that was like taking. For me, I thought it was taking something that was, in my opinion, I thought was like, God dang, this thing is one of the best cigars I've smoked in that year. It was fantastic. And then it was like the antithesis of that cigar when that came
and
out.
I was the opposite. I didn't mind the M81, but I really like the S84.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't smoked one since the freestyle pack. I won't go back. I just don't care for it.
Now, have you guys tried the Mil Diaz Maduro?
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't know.
Insane.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yes.
Insane.
Yes, it is insane what John is doing at Crown Heads and with the Casa factory and all these different people. It is just insanely good.
So fun fact here about Crown Heads. Do you know where they got the name?
Yeah, from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. It was in the
We're
truck
not going down
in
this
Wizard
road,
of Oz.
Kevin.
But so one of the things that I love about the new stuff coming out is everybody feels like to be a little bit more daring now. Everybody's using leaves that are harder to roll, harder to get, harder to blend. And I think that's creating some very, very unique flavor profiles in the industry that we have not gotten before.
Well, it's because consumers are demanding it. Consumers don't want the same. They don't want your grandfather's Connecticut. They don't want the same Habano they've always been smoking.
Here's the downfall of this, though. Yes, they're demanding. They want this. They want that. But what's the longevity for some of these blends, right?
Yeah,
that's got to play a key. And so when they want them to push and put all this new product out, and then there isn't this tobacco or there isn't those type of leaves that they can use. Because there is shortage, there is stuff that isn't always going to be available. How does that work?
Well, I think that's
core lines for reasons.
I think there is a good portion, and this is just you can boo me on this one if you'd like, but I think there is a good portion of the cigar community that does look for those core lines. But I think we're kind of starting to bring in a new wave of that TikTok generation where you could all these short runs and rare tobaccos. I think that's hitting big, and I think that's why you can get away with, hey, this is super ultra rare tobacco. It's 10 years old. We're only doing 10,000 cigars, only $1,000, whatever, and they'll sell out. And you can do it.
But that's not a new concept. That's just
not a new concept
that people have now jumped on, making it seem like it's
not exactly. Well, that's why you see bigger companies do.
So they just did better marketing than the people.
Better marketing in a bottle, and more people doing it. That's why you're getting more of it. That's why
Luciano's new Fiat Lux. The new Fiat Lux Tenebris from Fiat or from Luciano, phenomenal cigar. The Foreign Affair was a great one. Obviously, I love the original Fiat Lux. It was my number one in 2021, I think. But the underrated is it's with Ron Harper, and people are like, oh, it's a celebrity one. It's a very, very good cigar. But the Fiat Lux Tenebris is another one where he had original tobacco from one of the first test blends he did years ago, and they found basically a pilon of it and said, we've got just enough to use it for the wrappers. And so they know that once it's gone. But that's another one that is very good, that really should be part of their everyday offerings, that it's going to be gone soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to address this, though. I want to say, if you either love warped or you hate warped cigars.
I like
warped too.
I like Kyle.
I feel like they're not in everyone's wheelhouse. Like, they don't make cigars like that kind of have something for everyone. I feel like
it's same, I think, with Blackworks and some of those too.
I agree with that.
You like them or you don't. Same with Espinosa. You like that spicy Habano or you don't.
So I think those companies, like Kyle Gillis, makes cigars for himself. And if you
which is I think in my wheelhouse. I love it.
Correct. And when you get Eric will tell you, I make cigars for me. It's what I like, and if people like it, they like it. Yes, he makes some like the crema. He's not a huge smoker of, but people like it. But he still likes the cigar. And then there's manufacturers that make cigars that they put out that go, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but hey, the consumership loves it. Mm-hmm. So there's two manufacturer styles of mentality. There's I put out what I love and people with my palate love it. And then there's I put out something for everybody, even if I'm not the biggest fan of it, everybody else likes it. I do.
See, but then there's brands that play it on both sides. To their credit, Eric Bay with Black Star Line. He'll put out stuff for him that he absolutely loves, and then he'll put out stuff that isn't necessarily his wheelhouse, but does very, very well. I mean, the lighter stuff, he is not a lighter cigar enthusiast at all, but some of what he's put out is just absolutely insane.
But that's the beauty of good partners too, though. When you talk to Eric, he gets extensive feedback from his partners and people in that organization. So I got to ask you though, Tim, if I may, Kevin, steal the show for a quick second. How many more celebrity brands are we gonna fucking get? And what I mean by that is, everybody saw the success of Guy Fieri and is like, oh, everybody's gonna do it. But yet Guy Fieri in 30 years is the only celebrity cigar to ever be what it is. I think it is undoubtedly the largest celebrity cigar out there.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Mike Tyson fell on his face at PCA.
It did, and it's not a bad cigar, but it's I'm sorry, like, I think a lot of it is the celebrities want the name, they don't want the word. I mean, am I wrong in that? What's your thoughts?
No, I don't think you're wrong. You can look at countless celebrity cigars that have been made. I mean, you can look at David Ortiz, the Big Papi, the Hall of Fame cigar. You can look at all the different ones that have been created. And
they're not bad.
The only time you ever hear about that cigar is when he's a commentator for the World Series and he passes it out to everybody else that's commentating with him. You don't hear about it anywhere else. And I don't know that there's going to be another Guy Fieri level release in the next 5 years. Because
maybe they should go to Espinosa and have their cigars made.
Well,
and maybe they should.
The second to that is the M81.
I was going to say, what do you consider the M81 with metallic?
Yeah, but even at that, though,
I'm going to tell you, I didn't like that cigar from Drew Estate. One of the few cigars I didn't like.
If the M81 wasn't Drew Estate, the cigar wouldn't have made it out of the box.
And that's part of my take on that one is because Drew Estate, credit to Jonathan Drew, but, partnering with James Hetfield and doing that was a great move for them, but I don't think it has the overall appeal the way that and yes, it's a full line that Knuckle Sandwich Cigars is, with the Connecticut, the Habano, the Maduro, the Chef Specials that are coming out annually, all those different things. I don't think we're going to see another celebrity that's going to be that universally liked with a line or a specific cigar, the way that Guy Fieri has had his success. And credit to Hector Alfonso for doing the blending on those and for his brain behind all of that, because let's face it, it wouldn't have been as good of a cigar if Hector's knowledge and insight and palate and all those different things weren't as integral into that process.
And seeing Guy involved with it too. I mean, he's heavily involved with it.
Guy is very involved in it.
He shows up to people's lounges while he's on the road, and he'll call, like, hey, who in this area sells my cigar? And then he goes and does a video. Hey, I'm at such and such cigar lounge in wherever. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, he had the whole sales team for Espinosa out at his house in Florida, took him out on his boat, let him have free reign of his house, do all of that, because he is that kind of a down-to-earth, regular, everyday person, cigar enthusiast. Yeah, people said, why didn't you go with Boofy to make it? Because, you and your relationship. Yeah. And Guy will tell you, I had the relationship and the conversation with Eric years before Matt and I ever had the kind of friendship that we have now.
Yeah.
Well, so personally, I think, also, outside of the fact of the activity of it, I think, again, it's that training, it's that mindset behind it. You have a chef, a world-renowned chef who's known for making great recipes, putting together a cigar recipe and launching it. I think that also plays very, very heavily into people's mentality of, I'm going to give it a shot. A fucking chef made it.
Well, just his palate. Yes,
because you're not going to find that from a Gordon Ramsay or an Emeril Lagasse or anybody like that at all.
But I think a chef's palate is automatically, naturally seen as a refined palate by default.
Oh, yeah.
A good chef, at least. A good chef. Here, I'm getting the Italian side of my wife in here.
Right.
No,
but we all look for something in a cigar, right? And so clearly his background with food, spices, all of that, and just is going to enhance
people know.
People know Ryan.
So we may all like. I like Gordon Ramsay. I like his shows. I think he's one of the best chefs in the world. I can't relate to Gordon Ramsay. No. I can relate to Guy Fieri. Yeah, I can relate to him. I can relate to going to that diner, dive in and drive.
Of course. That is 100%.
That greasy hamburger with those
to the mom
good
pop shops.
So we can relate with that. So when we're watching him on TV or we're smoking his cigar, we can connect with him. So and
the fact they're damn good cigars.
But I also think here, so nothing wrong with Epic. Nothing wrong with Epic. I think Chaz Palminteri is a little older. Nothing wrong with him. Bronx Tale, one of the greatest mafia movies or gangster movies ever made. But I think when it comes to like Bronx Tale, I don't feel as a consumer guys putting a tax on the cigar. I feel when you look at Chaz, at least in my state, you're $20, $23, $24 for one of those. That feels like a celebrity tax. And and again, my state taxes are ridiculously high. But when I look at a chef special,
Tim's
when
like,
I look at a chef special, I could get into it for $15-$16.
And your taxes just went up as of today.
67%. Yeah, they're going to be in the next year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weed tax isn't going so well in Colorado.
Well, weed tax the state at 25%.
We've had a couple celebrity cigars, and I mean, we even went to an event and met two celebrities.
Yeah, when's the last time I ever heard of Gary Sheffield or Ray Lewis? Their cigars. Yeah.
And honestly, people just showed
Kelsey
up to
Grammer's
them to sign stuff.
That's it. But if they're not pushing it, it is. It is what it is. So I got a couple cigars on my list. I don't know if you guys have smoked yet. I have not been a fan of the Dunbarton Sin Compromiso line. Since they come out. He released the new number 4 Robusto. That cigar.
You've smoked so many of those.
I've smoked them all. That cigar blew me away. I think it's what the hype has been for over the years. I finally know what it is. I love that cigar. Tim, the West Tampa Circle of Life. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
So
Fantastic.
Good. I haven't reviewed that one yet. I've been letting it sit. That, and they released their Lanceros also for the red, black, and
red
white.
Lancero is out of this world.
Yeah, and then I don't know. It's halfway through the year. We got a lot of cigars left, but the Soprano was a dud. Yeah, the Tatuaje Tuxla 10th anniversary of Belong.
Tuxla.
Such a good. I did smoke a crap ton of those.
I don't know at this point, even halfway through the year, if someone is taking going to take that cigar away.
Which cigar was that, Kev?
The Tatuaje Tuxla 10th anniversary. I like the Belong size.
They're both good. What is the other one? Starts with an E.
I can't remember what the other one was. I just learned how to say Belong, so I'm not trying the other one.
The other one starts with an E.
But
they're both great. Though.
Yeah, the Casa Magna D Magnus 2 Tiberius, another crazy.
Yeah, that was really
I've got one of those on my humidor.
Yeah, the Oktoberfest.
The Oktoberfest 2024. Another great cigar. So we're gonna move on.
Really good, real quick. The 20th anniversary Kristoff was absolutely fantastic, and so is the Trace Compadres.
Okay. I haven't smoked with Kristoff in years.
I don't think Kristoff. I think Kristoff is a sleeper company. I don't think they get a lot lot accolade that they should.
Make good cigars.
That 20th anniversary is really, really good.
Yeah, they make.
We're gonna go 20th anniversary.
I would put a fan.
I gotta go. If we're going 20th anniversary, I gotta go the Gran Habano, the George Rico, the 20th anniversary.
Oh my god,
that one is insane.
Oh my god! How good is that cigar?
I will still tell everyone the Corona 20th anniversary is still a fantastic 20th anniversary cigar.
So, I'll be honest,
people haven't really ever had it. The Corona 20th anniversary was like my number one a couple years ago.
I've never had FSG.
So good.
It's you like it or you don't. You know,
No,
it's another one of those cigars. You like it or you don't.
FSG, you know, like you have your FSG. Now, mind you, I like the farm rolls better than I like just the regular FSG.
Same here.
But I love those farm rolls. There's something about them that's I don't know.
And the 20-acre farm.
Yeah, the
20-acre farm, great
too.
Cigar.
Yep.
Great. I got a whole humidor right back here full of 20-acre farms.
Yep.
Love that.
Can I ask everyone's opinion here really quick on this comment that Nick just made? Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
I'm here for you, brother.
I'm really curious. What's everyone's opinion here around Southern Draw's huge announcement around more or less getting out? Right, because that's kind of a shocker to me. I thought they were doing really well, and maybe I was wrong in that thought process. I really like their stuff. I don't understand what they're going for here with the buyout, but what's everybody's take on that? Are we going to see them next year?
To them if they could sell it.
I saw this a couple of years ago. Tim, you're in the media, so you probably remember this. This is, I don't know, going back, what is it, 2-3 years ago? They were looking for investors, you know, for like, it was like $15,000 you can invest in the company, you know, and at that point I'm like, ooh, you know, that's
but this letter is different.
I know, but I'm like, that's a little telling. That's a little telling, you know, like I don't know. That's putting it out there. Maybe we're not doing so well. I don't know.
That was a few years ago.
That was a few years ago. So when it was announced, wasn't a big shocker for me.
Well, here's my take on it.
Your
cigars are so close to AJ, that I feel that a lot of consumers correlate AJ so closely with the brand.
I think the Holts are ready to move on to something else, and I wish them all the love and respect in the world, because I think
love Robert.
They're fantastic people.
Amazing.
I love their cigar. So we'll go around the room. Does Southern Draw survive without Robert Holt?
Yes.
No.
The family dynamic, I think, is what sells people on Southern Draw. I mean, that's my take on it. As soon as you get rid of the family appeal of it, you know, that it's hard to continue that thing. You know, they're not an Alec and Bradley, where the family is still strong enough in the industry, or is strong enough and was when they got bought out. I don't know that Robert and everybody has that. I know they don't, in my opinion, have that same level of success without the family's involvement and obviously the reasons behind the name, Rosa Sharon, all those different things.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's enough of a legacy there yet without the Holtz being involved.
I only disagree for like a couple reasons, because from working in a lounge, how many people look for Southern Draw? Like, people buy that.
I love Southern Draw.
They come.
I do too.
And they do have a cigar for everybody. They have a cigar. I mean, you could go from the Rosa Sharon to Jacob's Ladder, and you can get the mild all the way up through.
It depends on
one of my go-to Lanceros.
Right, but 3 out of 10 people don't even know who Robert Holt is. They just like that cigar. So what I mean, as far as like who, I don't think Robert and Sharon would ever get rid of their company that wasn't maybe in good hands, in a sense. Like, so that is part of their legacy, right? I
don't think they'll get picked up by an STG or anybody big, though.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think that was what they want.
I think they would do. I think they will continue on if they were to get some capital and some voice behind it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, to your point, Jessica, they make great cigars, and I think if you have people still, if you get some capital behind it, you get some voice behind it, and I think that brand will do well beyond, Robert Holt. I think he's built it to a point right now where it could springboard off if put in the right hands and done the right way.
I agree. I think if he sells tomorrow, he stays on for a couple of years, slowly slides out of the public eye. You look at Jonathan Drew. When he sold the company originally, he left. Huge backlash. Had to bring him back. Everybody knows him. when's the last time you seen JD doing anything? I think he's, I don't want to speculate at all that he's getting out, but he can slowly start doing less and less and less, and then nobody pays attention. Same with Room 101. I love Matt Booth, one of my best friends. I could see within the next 3 to 5 years, he's slowly, and then eventually, someone's gonna, one of the new cigars, hey, I love these Room 101 cigars. Us in the group are like, oh, hey, so you love Matt Booth? They're like, I have no idea who's Matt Booth. Yeah, who's Matt Booth?
Yeah.
Kevin.
Well.
Let me show you this cool T-shirt. That's who Matt Booth is.
You and I have talked about this quite a bit. I think one of the few brands that absolutely would not survive without the owner is Dunbarton. I think Steve is why people buy. You either love Steve or you hate Steve. The cockiness of Steve, which I love that aspect of him. I really love that aspect. I think Room 101 could survive without Booth. A part of me thinks that Southern Draw could survive without Holt, but I think when it comes to it, Dunbarton, I don't think would be a brand without Saka. He's too big. He's too big in the brand.
That's you guys have all seen what happens when they change bands, a manufacturer, or change boxes. Yes. These aren't the same. Yes. You let Steve Saka retire. His core support goes instant overnight. Everybody's like, there's no way these are going to be good. I'm never buying another one. You know
why? Is because people buy Dunbarton not for the cigars as much as Steve's palate. People buy Dunbarton because they trust Steve's palate.
See, I feel that way about Foundation.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
I agree with you.
Let's move into some Foundation talk about Foundation leaving Aganorsa for my father's. Good move, bad move. What's
I think
everybody?
It was the right move for Nick.
It's going to change their profile. It's going to give them a spicier profile.
Yeah, I think so. I'm with the. I don't want to say because I love Aganorsa. I love the company. I love everybody. I love them. Charlie. I'm not saying anything that Charlie Minato didn't say on Half Wheel during the consensus. About the quality control issues that Aganorsa has been having for the last 2 years. I personally think that's the reason for the move. I stopped buying Foundation cigars because of the quality control issues. Nothing has to do with Nick. Nick can blend us a fantastic, like Gordon Ramsay can make the world's best cake, or come up with the recipe.
Scrambled eggs.
But if I make my scrambled eggs just like him, they're fantastic. But if that chef isn't making it exactly the way he designed it, it's not going to be the same, So I'm personally excited about the move. I'm now reinvigorated in the Foundation blend.
I see, and I'm on the fence on it because what I hope doesn't happen, and it's not a matter of a buyout, obviously, it's a change of, factories and farms and different things like that. What I hope doesn't happen for Nick's sake is it becomes labeled in the same way that Camacho did. And, that when, Espinosa was bought out, that Espinosa cigars, or I'm sorry, not Espinosa, Toronio, with Toronio cigars, I hope it doesn't go that route for Nick because his cigars are so good. But it happened with Toronio. It happened with Camacho. It's happened with other brands that were so well loved and liked. And now you get the people that say, oh, pre-Davidoff Camacho was amazing, but I won't smoke a Camacho anymore. And not that my father has bad tobacco or process or anything. They're fantastic, but they have a very specific palette that they go after. And Nick has too diverse of a portfolio to pigeonhole himself.
So is all of the cigars being made by my father?
Yes, everything.
Everything.
So he is coming out with a couple of new blends. He discontinued 2 old blends, the Wise Men.
Right.
2 of the Wise Men's. 2 of the Wise Men's are gone. Yeah. They're
discontinued.
But he
changed the name of the Ometepe to something else, right?
Yeah,
or
something.
No, not the Ometepe. No. It was the he changed the name of it was a cigar that was made for the Nicaraguan poet. He changed the name, and now the name is the name of the town in Ethiopia where the Ark of the Covenant is being. So yeah, so which
I don't know.
Yeah, so whatever that Nicaraguan poet was, that was
he only came out with that for like a year and then changed the name.
And then changed the name, same blend and everything else, just changed the name to
I kind of want to look it up.
to that town, in Ethiopia. So
I think the red and blue both for the wise men are the two that were
formerly
discontinued.
Metapa.
Matapa, that's the one. I knew it started with an M. I just couldn't remember what it was.
So I'm excited, to see, because because Nick, unlike like Camacho, when they sold, the family, the Aroas left. I mean, they had no part of it. So obviously, and for a couple of years, they were still supplying all the tobacco for the cigars. Which I don't believe they do now, but at least we know Nick is going to be there. He's going to have his thumb on the pulse. We know he loves being in Nicaragua. He's never at his home in Connecticut. So that at least gives, I think, a lot of people hope that, hey, these are going to still stay. He's not selling the brand. He's just having them made.
Right. And also people don't know the behind the things. It could have been a mutual split. There's multiple things that could have been discussed and happened. And I just wish,
and I think
for whatever decisions they make,
like my fault, like they don't make cigars for a lot of other people. Like when you have that opportunity to have your cigar made by that factory, you either jump on it, or you don't, because it could be 10 years before they have an opening, and it's just like.
And I don't think people realize how many cigars Aganorsa makes for people as well.
Yeah,
there's going to have to be a limit, I think, for some of these factories, right? AJ makes so many cigars for people. There comes a time where things do get, quality control is an issue. I mean, when you get that large and you make that many cigars, and we're talking about handmade organic things are going to happen, but it sucks when it happens.
But when it gets to the point to where when you can only smoke, like I get home late, maybe it's 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I only get the chance to have one cigar for the night, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, if I get a good one, man, I'm gonna have a fantastic cigar. But if I don't, I'm like, I'm gonna go with a Dunbar, because I know the quality is gonna be there. When it gets to that mentality in my mind, then I got to think, what's going on?
I think it's gonna be interesting.
It will. It'll be interesting.
I think Nick's the king of the broadleaf. Absolutely the king of the broadleaf, and
cheap of the broadleaf. We're in America. We don't have kings.
Well, I say king because everything with him is king. He's always got some king or something.
I don't think he'd make that movie if it was going to negotiate his blending ability either.
I would agree.
I totally agree. I just hope people don't go, and they pick up the Judge, and they put it next to one of his blends, and they go, I don't taste much of a difference. So, is there much of a difference?
Be those people out there, though, regardless. I think there's always going to be certain cigar smokers that are like, oh, this wasn't as good as the original.
Yeah.
Just because
I talked to Terrence. I talked to Terrence Riley when they were going through the whole rebranding and changing of stuff. And he was like, people are telling me it's a whole new blend. And he goes, these cigars have been sitting for a year. Like literally, it's the same blend. Like it's exactly the same. And I think some people are fearful of change of any kind. It's like new Coke versus classic Coke.
Yeah, change is hard for people.
Either put the cocaine back in it or stop messing around.
I think that's the number one thing that's always going to stay the same is change. And that's like hard for people to understand that is the only thing that will ever be the same is that change will happen.
That's it. So anybody want to comment on the Year of the Dragon lawsuit filed by Gurkha against all these companies?
No comment.
It's as bad as the whole I own every Roman numeral up to 10. Yeah. And I'm going to sue everybody in between using it. Just because I put an X on it.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. It just creates more unnecessary drama in our already drama-filled community for certain things that we don't need attention on. So it's kind of like, let it go.
You know what it is? It's a waste of fucking money, because this money, instead of being used to infight, can be used to fight the stupid politicians,
the real enemies out there,
and the people that are trying to rip this away from us.
Yeah.
And instead, we're spending, I don't know how many untold hundreds of thousands or millions. You know why? Because the attorneys are the only ones that ever win on either side. Yeah. That's it. Period.
Yeah. Except for the company that brings in new consumers, because buzz is buzz. You know, so people that didn't like Gurkha before, they have a new reason to hate them. People that never smoked them are like, oh, hey, what's this company all about that I'm hearing about? Let me dive deep into this company. So
say so many negative things about Gurkha anyway, though. Like, no, are all their cigars great? No. Are some of their cigars great? Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, people trash Gurkha so much that they definitely did not need this publicity.
Yeah.
Well, they did it to themselves too. I mean, the old the old president essentially was called by CI and said, "We got 2,000 cigars. Can we throw a band on them?" And they said yes. Yeah. You know, so in the way for a lot of years, Gurkha was seen as CI's house brand, and so was Diesel. And that's just the truth. Now, Juan has done a lot of good bringing that back out of reality of, we can make good cigars, but the reality of it is, for a long time, both Gurkha and Diesel were seen as CI's house brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is for certain people.
That's it. It is what it is. We're gonna move on to I'm gonna put this segment. I'm gonna preface with, I stole this from Cigar Dojo. So don't be like, hey, Kevin stole your shit.
No.
So they're talking about cigar.
Wait for Eric's post to bash you.
Yeah, you know. Right. So they did some cigar accessories on their show a couple weeks ago. They talked about one of my cigar accessories. I loved it, and I never thought anything about it. And then like a couple weeks ago, I'm starting to see all of these things in my feed on Facebook, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should, and we had you guys coming on. We're going to talk about a couple of items, and we're not here to bash anybody. We're not here to just whatever your thoughts are. We're going to kick off with the cigar bib.
Hold on. This is real. This is real.
So,
no, it's not.
So this is real. So the cigar bib, they started off on Kickstarter, and for $281, discounted from the MSRP of $469.
Well, that's a deal then.
That's a hell of a deal to keep ashes from getting on your.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of the concept. That what justify? I'm just going to bring a towel from home.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I go to a seafood restaurant and I get a free bib. I'll just keep it and use it.
Kevin, during this segment, are you allowed to criticize other people's opinions? Can we back each other?
Yeah. So I
smoke mostly here. So if it falls, then all well, it's in my studio. And I had a couple buddies over, and they're like, "Oh, I ashed on the ground," and I said, "Look at the ground. Do I care?"
Right.
And it's not messy. It's not trashy.
It's not lonely.
It's a wooden floor. Who cares? Like, not even like the laminate wood. It is literally OSB on the floor. I don't care.
If you're going out on the evening, right? Like, they're like a couple's on a date. They're both smokers. They go to a lounge. You're in nice, dressed up clothes. I can see that being a thing.
No.
Then tap your ash earlier.
No.
No.
Okay, so
listen, Brian, you don't get to say anything. You're Abercrombie.
I don't wear it anymore. I learned.
I will give the Kevin response. I'll give the Kevin response of nah.
All right. Okay. So this one, this is the latest one, and this has been getting brutalized on social media. And this is the cigar dry box. For $350, you can get a box to keep your cigars in to dry box them.
Oh,
and there's a whole procedure when you get the box. You actually get a dehumidification pack, like a Boveda. It's like a 50%. You want to keep that in the box for like 2 weeks to dehumidify the box.
That defeats.
And then you want to keep your
insane. I will take an old cigar box or a humidor that has nothing in it and hasn't for the last however long.
Or keep your humidor.
And I know people that
under control.
And I know people that dry box, as a habit, and hey, more power to them if they want to smoke their cigars at 58, 60% because their humidors are keeping them too humid. Then, like you said, Garrett, then just regulate your humidity differently so you don't have to dry box it. And if you really do need to dry box something, chances are, if you're into cigars enough, you've got an extra humidor or you've got an extra old cigar box or something. And I've got, they're out of frame here, but I've got probably a dozen and a half old cigar boxes sitting on top of that bookshelf up there that if I ever needed to use them, I could. But to spend $300 to get
go to any cigar shop and buy one for $2.
Or just leave it on your table.
Leave it out for a day and a half. Hey, guess what? You don't need a box and it dried out.
Wow, that's like
for $100, I will sell you this dry box.
Oil, whatever. It's oil salesman, whatever. It's like, here's a jar of fresh air.
That's it. What about these? I'm intrigued. Has anybody tried or seen the new one from Cigar Bros? It's the foam humidor.
Oh, it's kind of neat.
It's made out of that.
But I mean, it would work the same, right? Like,
these are $50.
And they're not like regular styrofoam. They are hard molded foam.
I think that'd be good if you like to go fishing, if you're out in a boat and you have your cigars. I think something like that. If it's water,
but there's no way to attach the lid. I mean, the lid just kind of sits.
Well, that defeats the purpose of the whole idea of having that on your.
It looks like it's sprayed with some kind of. Can you put that back? It looks like it's definitely like.
No, it's an injection molded. So it's just a foam.
I don't know. It's kind of.
I think Yeti is going to come out with this as an accessory for the cooler.
Yeah.
Does anyone need more?
What I see is Kevin, since he has 3D printers now, is getting a gauge on that one so that he can see about 3D printing one himself. And honestly, my take on it when I first saw it was it's an igloo for cigars, or it's what men will use and they'll say it's their gun safe or whatever else, and they'll turn it backwards, and that way their wife doesn't know they're storing more cigars.
It's and I can 3D print that. I can 3D print the gasket, but I look at everything that I make. Like is there something on the market already? Like how many travel cases do you guys have? I have a dozen that hold from 4 cigars to 50 cigars, travel cases. Like and they have snap lids that I can throw in my back seat, and the cigars can bounce around. That has a lid that's attached that snaps into place.
I was just sent one to review and look at. I mean, I have I have more travel cases than I have fingers by a long shot, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with an accessory. An accessory should be a question nobody asks, but everybody wants to ask it. And the whole lap bib is never a question that anybody asks to be solved as a problem. And an accessory, the only way an accessory is worth it is if it solves a problem that a lot of people have.
Justin was laying out a pretty good reason.
That you don't have to create the problem in order to make the accessory.
Yeah, exactly. And like when you talk about 3D printing, so I have like right here, to solve a problem I had and a lot of other people have, and Tim, you probably have seen this problem as well.
Can we just also give me some credit for this?
Yes, Jessica gets credit. So stacking, all these humidors that come with these trays that you pull out and all your cigars just fall out. So I 3D printed like these little risers. So you take a box and now it sits on there. You can take another box and now you can stack it and it stays in place.
How the fuck do I get those? How do I? Let's just stop right now. How do I get those? Hold on, here.
Yeah, so
for an annual membership of $50 for the first year.
And then I 3D print them in pieces. So you just so they're easier on shipping.
So they come.
They all come. They all come. Apart. And that's it. So we have them for these. We have them for bigger. But I needed this solution for me. Whether other people are going to need it. Whatever. So but
when I got my New Air humidor, that was my biggest complaint was, how the hell do I stack my cigars?
Yeah.
I don't want to put boxes in here.
Trays don't stack. They stack so sloppily.
Yeah.
Tim, you've done a dozen humidor. They always have the one big tray on the bottom, which we all love,
right?
Because it's got the big 4 sides, and they're like, and then it says it
And
holds
then
300 cigars. Yeah, had a shelf.
Yeah.
But then you. Yeah, see, there you go, Ryan. You know, but
all
and then
on top of your cigars.
You pull out the tray, and then if no matter how you have them, they all come tumbling down. Or you got to put boxes in there, and once you put boxes in there, now they don't hold as many cigars. So,
or if you try and even can't even stack those wooden trays on top of the other one, because then they'll shift off and the corner will poke into a cigar.
Well, you just gotta be careful pushing the trays back in really delicately.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so this was interesting though, because when he was designing it, you know, it was kind of like, all right, what kind of trays though? Like we even looked at all these different types of trays, like even ones for like office, right? Wooden trays that should be stackable, but they still slid. They weren't like grooved in. This was genius because it also has the holes, so it's breathing, you know, so it doesn't matter what tray you use, even if you used a solid tray that didn't have the slits, right? It's the air still circulating.
But
so tray sitting back here on the shelf, wherever I'm pointing, back there on the shelf, down on the bottom shelf. And I just don't even use them because I've found other ways to stack up the cigars or to do different things.
Yeah.
But then I do, like I'm playing Jenga and I slide out the shelf and I go, okay, I want that one without the other 16.
Yeah, but my only real input is that I caught how big the spacer was, and I told you.
So we shrunk it up. You know,
that was really my only contribution.
Yeah.
To that.
So those are available now. Cigarprop.com, TrashPandaCigars.com. We have 2 different sizes, whatever.
I kind of want you to go a little bit smaller if you can. But
you know,
only because I think people could maybe possibly get 3 trays.
Yeah, you know, we just have to listen to the consumers and see how they go. Up next here we have various cigar mouthpieces. They go from anywhere between $50 and $100, so you don't have to touch the cigar.
Okay, so I'll start this one off. I don't ever use cigar pokers. I'm from the old school age where we smoked everything down to the fingers, right? Like that's just how I got used to it in school, right? I will say the nub that I love the most is the Cigar. I use this thing all the time. I don't know why I like it. I'll be honest with you, other than the fact that I'm not sticking something through into my cigar as I'm smoking. It goes like this. Yeah. I love the Cigar. I think this is do I think it's a little on the high side? Absolutely. Would I own it if they didn't give it to me to try? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Do I use it all the time? Yes.
I don't.
I do. I do. When I get a cigar with a cracked cap, if I cut it and it cracks the cap, this actually saves it. This kind of pressurizes it and closes it. You know, you just twist it in.
And I find myself that when I've put the cigar in, you can see that I've used this one. There's, you know, some cake, if you want to go pipe terms, you know, in there that that I actually have damaged more cigars than I have gotten the benefit out of it by trying to get the cigar to stay.
That's what I was wondering.
I've never damaged a cigar on it. I'll be honest. I've never damaged a cigar on it. I've saved cigars with it.
Well, then I'm just a little bit too strong to be doing it.
Well,
I feel like I would look like I was fancy.
Or Ryan should be better at cutting his cigar so he doesn't have to use something when he cracks the cap.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you're not paying attention. You just go, you know, and it cracks the cap. But you know, it goes with my old American Eagle, Abercrombie style. Like I can pinky up it.
Definitely are high class with one of those those smoking ends.
So Kara, I say you're not with the mouthpiece.
Hard pass.
Yeah, I like it as a cigar rest when the cigar is in it. Other than that, I very rarely use it. Is it a good idea? Sure, I can get it. You know, Family by Loyalty, you know, they've got some accessories that are like this that they've done as well, and others have done it. My take is if it was going to catch on, why like mainstream, it would have already done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not doing it. Like I'm not, but I know a lot of people that would use it. It's not for me.
I don't. It would be in your European carry-all with your bib.
I use it here in my office.
The bib.
I will say this, and this is the big testament for a nub, right? I don't travel with it. And I think if you're going to have a nub, you need to feel comfortable to travel with it. You need to use it. I don't use that thing outside of my studio. I don't travel with it. So do I get any benefit?
Ryan, that's why.
No. Do I get any benefit of it outside of my office? If I'm like, oh, I got a cracked cigar. No, I don't ever think I should have brought it. So from that standpoint, like I said, if I didn't buy it, I wouldn't own it.
Right.
That's it. And then our last one here, and this is cigar cutters in general, but has anybody seen this one yet?
What?
The hell is that?
Is that a hole puncher?
Right?
But it looks like a medieval torture device.
I remember that from grade school.
So yeah,
that looks like what a Moyle would use.
It's a medieval circumcision
but yes,
device.
So it's just got a blade that comes down. It's a guillotine.
No, it's stupid.
Yeah, but it weighs probably like 5 pounds.
I didn't mean it like that. I just
and it's $190.
Staple gun. I love that comment.
You can easily cut cigars and perform brisks all at the same time.
Yeah. So
how big is it?
A size of a hole punch. Same stuff. But this leads me into like cigar cutters in general. It's just getting asinine. About every 6 months, like a cutter comes out in a new color. Like Tim, you get these press releases. We got 5 new colors.
Yeah,
what is same with the Les Lame, the cigar knife. Like how many emails do you get? How many different versions of this knife can you make for $300?
There's certain companies that do have some beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
I might not be a fan of the price
colors. I'd rather see different colors in a cigar cutter where people can. I get that part, but coming out with a hole puncher like that, I just think it's like trying to reinvent the wheel. But I do understand lighters, cutters in different colors, and people want to accessorize. I'm cool. That's fine. I mean, I get that part.
I appreciate the craftsmanship of what goes into a lot of those things, like the Les Lame thing. All of that. I had one guy reach out to me that makes his own version of it, and he was like, hey, will you review it? And I said, okay, here's my terms. And he goes, well, I need you to buy it for $100. And I'm thinking, that's already a markup on what it costs you to make it, and I'm not going to pay to get something on my channel when I've got enough people that are hitting me up for other accessories and these different things. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. Well, I'll customize it. I'll laser it with your name with it.
Great. Limac just posted all about that, so that was that whole big thing, and then you got Dunbarton, they'll be coming out with his cutter.
No,
$300,
but that's also, so again, accessories need to fill a void.
Yes.
Where I think the Dunbarton fills the void is the interchangeable blade and the fact of the quality of the blade that he went with. Now, I will say the only other revolutionary cutter I have yet to use it, because I'm not a big punch person and I see it as a punch, is the Baller.
That's a fantastic cutter. I love that.
But I don't know why, because I don't like the punch. I don't like the single hole like that. So for
I feel like
me,
this is different than a punch, though. The Baller does something a tad different than you would get from
I've never tried it, so I can't.
Yeah, the Baller created something new in the industry. That's going to sell. Yeah,
100%.
The Dunbarton created something new, or same company. But it's a replaceable blade, and for me, that's worth $300.
But here's the take on accessories. Cigars are already like kind of, could be a costly habit for some people, right? But there are people who spend their money, on the accessories. That's what they like. They want that the case with the same cutter and lighter, and they want that, DuPont, like name, right? So there's certain things that people will do, and they're willing to pay that kind of money. I just want something that works.
How many people buy the ST DuPont lighters just so they can hear the ting when they strike it?
Yeah.
And how many of those fail in 6 months?
A lot.
Yeah.
There are quite a
that's
few.
what I
I'm not
mean.
gonna.
Like Kevin, when I first started getting into this, Kevin was the best for accessories when I first started getting it. He literally was like, you can buy, I love my $200 lighter. I forgot what it was, but it was like a little flip down. It was a flat flame lighter.
Yeah.
Like, this thing is absolutely fantastic. But this $10 lighter I've had for 10 years and it's never failed.
Let's see this Jetline lighter, the new ones that just came out. They're $10.
Yep, there you go, Care. The Vertigo.
The Vertigos are great
This thing
too.
has lasted. This thing has outlasted all the difference.
They're nearly bulletproof.
And the problem becomes
horrible, expensive.
Is my smoking experience different for $100 or $200 or $300 for a lighter that's going to light it the same way as any other lighter? No. But where that cheaper lighter comes in is the fact that I can buy 10 and I don't ever bitch and moan that I got to buy a new one every 6 months.
I think if you're going to invest, and I had somebody ask me one time, they said, I'm a new cigar, smoker. I want a lighter cut. I said, look, here's the deal. A stove could light your cigar.
Yeah.
What you really want to do is you want to invest. And if you're going to put some money into something, buy a good cutter. Yes. That's going to cut the cigar clean. It's not going to mangle it. It's not going to F it up. It's not going to it's not going to pinch it. Then you could buy matches, a Bic lighter. You could buy I said, buy a $10, like you said, there's a Vertigo lighter. There's all the different types of lighters. But realistically, if you're into the fashion stuff, then go buy yourself a $100, $200 lighter. It's going to light the cigar the same way as a $10 lighter or one of the plastic freebies you can get. But invest in a cutter.
If that's their thing, right? But if that's their thing, go for it. But for me, I just want something that cuts my cigar, like you said, clean and good, and lights my cigar. And honestly, like we've been using the Jetline cut forever, forever. Like I love that cutter. It works just, in my opinion, as good as a Calibre.
So one of my old managers who was really big into apparel, clothing.
And this is the Lotus version.
Oh
I got one right here. Yeah,
he was really big into like Oakley glasses, and he always told me, life does not like it when you spend over $100 on a pair of sunglasses. And I was like, I don't even understand what that means. He goes, the more you spend on anything, the more likely you are to lose it. If you spend $10 on a pair of sunglasses, I've had them for 3 years. I can't lose them. They come home to me like a lost dog. But when you spend a lot of money on, you just lose it. And that's where he was like, I used to buy all of these. He goes, I lost like 5 pairs of Oakleys in a year, but I got these $30 pair of Fossils that I can't lose if I try.
Yeah,
and that's the other side of it
does a whole comedy skit on that.
You lose it.
Yeah.
You lose them.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my whole thing is that I'm just too afraid that I'm going to invest this amount of money into this product and I'll lose it or it will get stolen or something will happen or I'll break it. And that's a lot of money to just throw away at one lighter, one cutter, in my opinion, for my life.
It's too cheap to spend the money on any of those things.
Yeah.
I'd rather have cigars. I'll buy a Vertigo lighter with 2 boxes for the cost of a DuPont.
Yeah.
Or 5, 6 boxes.
Yeah.
That's it. Tim, I got a question for you. You mentioned unboxings, and you got people that are reaching out to you. You ever have someone reach out to you for you do a video or basically you set the terms up ahead of time? Hey, it's this, and this. If I'm going to be compensated, it's this, and this. Yep. And the product is garbage, and you don't end up doing it. Like I got a company pissed at me right now because we set all this up ahead of time. I got their product and they're like, "Hey, when are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I'm not. Product sucks." Like, "Oh, you promised we had all this." I'm like, "I'm not putting this out." I'm like, "This is a garbage lighter." I'm gonna send it to Care. Care.
So yeah, this right here, I have not put out a video on it because it's. Does it fit a need for certain cigar enthusiasts? Sure. But it didn't do it for me. And so I never put out the review. And I mean, the guy never followed up with me either of like, hey, are you going to put it out? Because I went and started recording it, going through it. And literally I went through 3 different cigars no humidity issues with any of them. And in one way, shape, or a form, they did not do well being put into that. And, you know, maybe it is me. I got no problem with that. But yeah, I've never had a company be upset at me for the way that I did a review, or have ever gotten to the point where I respond back and I'm like, this is trash, I'm not reviewing it. But there are accessories that I've received that I won't be working with that brand ever again. The only accessory that I just shy of bashing the product itself, not the brand. And Zyfe, I mean, you see they're all over social media now with their cigar accessories and humidors and this and all that. Their wooden desktop one is just complete trash. It doesn't seal. And when I reviewed it, I said, it doesn't seal tight. You're going to have to, you know, do a bead of silicone around the glass top. You're going to have to get some sort of a gasket for it. I went through all of that. And I waited thinking they're going to reach out and go, yeah, we're done. We're not sending you a single other thing. And instead, they kept sending me other products because they wanted to change my perspective of their brand.
Oh,
well, like first off, I tell everybody that's ever like, oh, I want to buy a humidor. I saw this on Amazon. It's a wooden desktop one. It's got a glass face. I say, stop. Never buy a humidor with a glass face.
Yeah.
Period. And I said, on top of it, unless you're willing to spend a minimum of probably $400 to $500 on a wooden humidor, you're literally wasting your fucking money, because it's not going to seal. It's not cedar. It's laminate. It's not going to hold. And out here west of the Mississippi, wooden humidors don't fucking work. You have to have a refrigerator humidor out here, or I fought for about 3 months a wooden. Drew Estate sent me. They're really, really nice. Really, what I thought was super expensive. Seal's really. I fought up and down just trying with one Bovida pack in it to remotely make it flatline itself. I couldn't do it. I gave up on wooden humidors. I tell everybody, a Tupperware with a rubber gasket or a refrigerator humidor. Those
or like right here is a Daniel Marshall wooden humidor.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that would work so good out here.
It's $1,000 humidor.
That was $2,500.
It's
so
humidor.
There's a big difference, you know, when like I said, these $30 Amazon, they don't work.
But
I don't think that
most
would
of
work
these
out
people,
here, Kevin.
yeah, but most of the people who are buying something that holds between 20 to 50 cigars, like newer cigar smokers, it's all that they have. They have to be able to have that many cigars, right? Like that's the point of the humidor, right? If you're only putting 5 cigars in a 100-count humidor, that's also not going to make your humidor.
You gotta have at least 50% filled.
50-60% filled.
Right. So I tell people to get a dang Tupperware. You're only starting off. You only have 10, 20 cigars. Get a Tupperware. You don't need anything fancy. Once you start getting into it, then you buy something above, you know, grade. But
I bought a cheap box. I bought a cheap box of cigars. You know, a bundle or whatever it was when I first got my first, you know, years ago, and used that as my filler when you start off with just 10 or 12 cigars, and they stayed in my humidor. I think God for years. And that was they just filled space. And as I started smoking more and collecting more, you know, they became like my, you know, that's what your yard cigars are, and then eventually just kind of moved out.
There's a reason that I have whatever it is, 8, 9 different thermoelectric humidors, because it's way smarter for me out here. Yeah, I've got an AC here in my studio, and it's temperature controlled, you know, 365 days out of the year. But for humidity control, I mean, we'll swing from 60% humidity, you know, during the fall and all that kind of stuff to, you know, 15% humidity. Even in here, I mean, I can temperature control all I want, but a wooden desktop humidor just was not cutting it at all. So that's why I went the thermoelectric route.
I don't think that David Marshall humidor, as much as David Marshall is the god of wooden humidors, no doubt about it, I don't think west of the Mississippi, out here in the more arid climates, that even a David Marshall would hold humidity to the level
Daniel
that
Marshall.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Daniel. I didn't mean to say
Daniel Marshall.
That's his younger brother.
I didn't mean to say
humidors. He's been building humidors in California for 40 years.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But the point is the wooden humidors here in where I'm at in Colorado in the desert, it just naturally will dry. You will be replacing Boveda packs twice a month. Now, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I will
interrupt you though for 1 second though, because I don't know how all wooden humidors are. I just know the seal on that sucker.
The lid weighs 4 pounds.
Yeah,
so
and if you have to fight it to open it, it's got a good seal.
I have a hard time opening it, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying maybe possibly too, like the seal of it, like how it's actually made may play a part.
I think Ryan's part in it,
but you're also in a much more humid area.
In Ryan's area, you need a humidor like that.
I think what Ryan is saying, he doesn't know how to cut cigars. He doesn't know how to store cigars. I think
$2,000 New Air humidor. The thing works great. I love it. But the thing of it too is you got to
dry box state.
Yeah, right. I paid $300 for my dry box. I know what I'm doing. Like the thing to take into consideration too is wood shrinks and expands. Florida is incredibly humid.
Humidity.
So, the Cigar Medics humidimeter, just taking the lid off, would say 80%.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
So when you look at something like that, that wood's gonna swell. I would be hard pressed if you brought that to Colorado at 7,500 feet elevation for 3 months if it had that same tightness on that seal, because it would shrink. I
think he's just trying to get my Daniel Marshall humidor.
Send it, Kev.
I think the problem is this. I think the problem is this, Ryan. Is I think you remember you said you were in the good clothing with the polo. Remember, right? Okay.
I never wore polo.
So polo is Daniel Marshall, right?
You
bought the Knights of the Round Table that's got that's the David Marshall humidor. I think.
Exactly. Well, that's the Amazon one. That's why I kept getting confused.
That's the Knights of the Round Table that you buy at like the Sears, where it's a guy holding the lance and not the polo.
I do have a question though. I do have a question for everybody. I've not had one of his cigars. Is anybody here?
I've got one in the humidor. I've had it for a couple of years. I want to smoke it.
Oh, has anyone? I mean, does anyone even know anyone who ever smoked the one that was in gold? Whatever the gold.
Yeah, there's like $2,500.
I don't even know anyone who's ever smoked one, but
nope.
No, I've never had one actually.
So. All right, we're gonna wrap up the show, but before we do, we'll announce who's going to be on the show next week. Let's hear a little word from our sponsors over at Corona Cigar. All right, so next week we welcome Bradley Rubin on the show. We met up with Bradley up in Tampa a month or so ago, and nobody's done an interview with him since a company got bought.
Really?
And, blew me away. I'm like, hey, how things going? And he's like, he mentioned, he goes, I'm surprised nobody's had me on on their shows to talk about. I'm like, nobody has had you on the show.
Wow.
So you guys got any questions that you want to know about from Bradley? Like,
your mustache is crooked.
I'd be curious to know how much they're controlling the brand still. How much they actually are they in a consulting position, or are they in kind of still a steering position?
I do know that they just released a new cigar, and that's from his dad's book of blends. Yeah. So I'm interested in knowing, did they bring the old man in? Like you said, like I said, you can have a recipe. It's like 2 eggs, cup of flour, but if you don't know how to put them together, so I'd be interested to find out as well.
How that all worked.
Jennifer spoke to Alec Bradley.
His double broadleaf is on my list as well.
Yeah,
That double
really
broadleaf is killer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that would be all that I'd be curious about is what is their day-to-day involvement? Because I think any of the loyal Alec and Bradley cigar enthusiasts are going to want to know, I mean, back to what we talked about a while ago, what's their involvement? Do they still have much of a voice? All those kinds of things, because that will let the consumer know whether they want to continue trusting the brand.
Yeah. I do know that Jonathan Lipson went over with them and they just deleted his position last week. So he made that announcement. So Jonathan's not with the company, anymore. So I'm sure he'll get picked up quickly. He was always an integral part of, the Alec Bradley family. So, so tune in next week. Cigar Prop YouTube channel or the Rumble, Instagram, not Instagram because they keep kicking us off. You guys had any luck, Ryan? On Instagram, they keep kicking us off. Have you broadcasted live from Instagram yet?
No, you can't. I haven't been able to find a source or a platform to tie into it in a legal way that doesn't go around their terms of use.
No, through StreamStar, you just get the RMTP code. It's easy.
Yeah, see, I'm not up to date on that. Yeah,
okay, so they keep.
It's not easy. It's not
honestly, I'm in my own little world here. I have people that watch, and I kind of am doing my own thing. I don't need to be out there. I never expected the show to be remotely still on. So the fact that people still watch it and enjoy it, I don't want to fix something that's not broken. So I stream where I stream. They find me where they find me, and it grows and it keeps me happy.
Right on. And speaking of finding everybody, if you're watching this tonight, listening to this on the podcast in the future, in the show notes are all the social media links for Ryan and on Cigar Show Tim. Tim is Tobacco Talk Media. Definitely subscribe to his newsletter. All the links are they're clickable links, so they're in the show notes, as well as the links for Cigar Prop, producer Jessica, Care Viajante, Estogie Road Cigars, as well as all of our sponsors that make the show happen each and every week. Once again, thank you to JC Newman Cigars, Cigar Medics, Amendola Cigars, We Are the Muscle, Illusione Cigars, Deep in Flavor, Deep in Your Mind, Corona Cigar, and of course, Drew Estate and Experience Acid. Usually this is where Care says his final goodbye, parting words for tonight. We'll go around the room. Everybody, give everybody some parting words of inspirational wisdom. Care, we'll start off with you.
As always, man, it's the shortest 3 hours I've ever spent in the evening. To be honest with you, it was great catching up with you guys, and continued success to all three of you, as Bone said earlier. There's five of us to all three of you. The other two shall remain. But I mean, life is short, man. Just go into a cigar shop, sit down, grab a cigar, and just start chatting with someone new.
Right on. Tim?
I mean, I appreciate coming on. It's always great hanging out with you guys. Kevin, Jess, Care, Ryan. It's always great getting to catch up with you. I know we chat every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, all my stuff's linked down below, listed down below. The way that I end all of my reviews and videos, which really is what I choose to be defined as, is I really hope that everybody enjoys their cigar journey, because that's what it should be, is an enjoyable experience and a journey where you get to learn what you like, what you don't like. But at the end of the day, enjoy your cigar journey, everybody.
Right on. Ryan.
Thank you very much for having me on. I love hanging out with you, Jess, Care, Tim. What's crazy is that the cigar world has given me some of the closest people that I have in such a short time. I love this community. And this community has given me the ability to have a fun show every single week. And I'll never forget that first time I called Kevin, was like, "You sound like Kevin. Is this really?" Yes, this is really Kevin. I answer my own phone. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can be eating dinner and he'll answer his phone sometimes.
Jess was busy that day.
And then from that moment, Kevin and I got thick as thieves, and Tim shortly after, and Care, and I just love the community. I love coming on, and And yeah, my show's over on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Outside of Dojo, I'm the best show you're going to get in the Rocky Mountains. So definitely check us out.
There you go.
Jessica.
I'm just going to tell people it's your cash, your ash. Like, don't let anybody sway you one way or the other. It's your money. You smoke what you like. And, you know, if you don't like it, cool, you move on. But, you know, always stay doing what you need to do for your cigar purposes.
Right on. All right. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, bye.